White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. It is a beautiful evening for baseball in Chicago. The Sox are trying to make it 2 in a row against Kansas City in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. The Sox erupted last night with an 8-run 6th inning, and Matt Davidson, who tied a career high in RBIs, was a big part of it.
Matt Davidson came to spring training, and all he wanted was a chance. And right now he's getting that chance, and he's making the most of it. Although it's predominantly against the left-handers, he's hitting .368. Took Vargas opposite field last night. He now has 4 home runs. He's driven in 14 with his 4 runs driven in last evening. This is a rocket of a single high off the wall. And Davidson was a triple away from the cycle, destined to never get any closer because he never got another at-bat. There you see what he did in the last road trip. He hit over 300. He hit the ball very hard to all fields, drove in 7. And because we weren't facing any left-handers, he sat for 6 days. That's what made what he did last night a little more special.
And he gets another left-hander today, Danny Duffy for Kansas City.
Good matchup today. Dylan Covey goes to the mound for our ball club, and Danny Duffy for Kansas City. He's a very talented left-hander with, at times, overwhelming stuff. In this ballpark, he's been almost impossible to hit. Last time out against Texas, he was pretty tough to hit, and this guy's got a terrific curveball, throws in the mid-90s, and he's just getting better and better. Dylan Covey on the other side of the equation had a pretty good outing the first time against the Twins. There you see, took a little something off, and he got the strikeout. But against the Yankees, a completely different story. He didn't have his good stuff, and Aaron Judge made him pay. This rolling breaking ball went anywhere in the neighborhood of 470 to 475 feet. The big man unloaded, and you see Danny Duffy in this ballpark. ERA of 129 lifetime. Wednesday, not such a good outing for Dylan, but he's hoping to bounce back. So one good one, one bad one, and tonight is the rubber game for him. Hopefully he'll get it over the plate.
Maybe we can convince Danny Duffy he's in a different ballpark.
Let's hope we can do that, because nothing else has worked.
The left-hander for Kansas City, Dylan Covey for the Sox. First pitch is just around the corner on a lovely night here in Chicago.
Start by Toyota. Tested, trusted. Toyota. Toyota. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time.
A lovely night for baseball here in Chicago. It's game number 2 of a 3-game series. The Royals and the White Sox getting together. Sox put up 12 runs last night, 6 in the finale against Cleveland, and they try to prop up Dylan Covey, who's out to the mound today in his first ever home start as a White Sox pitcher.
Hopefully he can bounce back from what for him was a very difficult outing against the New York Yankees. Now we know the Yankees are a good, talented team with a few young sluggers. They took advantage of that against him. But he's had one good outing, one that was a little, well, he was a little off in that one, safe to say, and he's trying to subdue a team that's not hitting at all in these Kansas City Royals. They have really struggled putting runs up. 47
runs, 17 fewer than any other major league team, and Mike Moustakas leads off. He's in there instead of Whit Merrifield from yesterday. Then Kane, Hosmer, Perez, and Gordon. Everybody moves up one. Bonifacio slides into the 6th spot, the rookie. Then Escobar, Moss, and a rare start early on for Christian Colon.
Take a look at the defense and how they're going to line up behind Dylan Covey, Melky Cabrera, Leury Garcia, and Avi Garcia in the outfield. Then it's Matt Davidson getting started third base with Tim Anderson, Yomer Sanchez, and Jose Abreu. Omar Narvaez gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience Amazing starting pitcher is Dylan Covey. There you look at the numbers in his 2 starts. He's a sinker baller. He's not going to strike out a lot of people. He depends on the offense getting a little over anxious and pounding the ball into the ground, which will produce, if he's right, a lot of double play chances, a lot of ground ball chances, and hopefully with the wind blowing out toward the left field corner and the wind very much a factor tonight, he can keep the ball down and in the park. So let's take a look at the umpires for the game tonight. Bruce Dreckman has the plate. King-size Jordan Baker, tallest umpire in the league, at first. Then Mike Everett, the crew chief, at second, and Bill Welke is at third. So Dylan is done with his warm-ups. He's ready to go. They've thrown the ball around the infield. They're ready to go. I certainly know that Jason and I are ready to go, so take it away.
Sounds good, Steve. Let's do it. Game number 2 of 3. Sox were winners in big fashion yesterday, 12-1, and they will face a reconstituted Royals lineup as Kansas City has now gone 8 consecutive games with 2 runs or fewer. That is a franchise record.
Last 9 games, they've scored 13 runs, so they're struggling mightily.
The big guy, Mike Moustakas, takes strike number 1 from Covey, and we are underway from Guaranteed Rate Field.
Moustakas been thinking about hitting home runs. With that in mind, he's been even more of a pull hitter and a fly ball hitter this year than he ever was before.
So the Sox shift him here in the first inning, a guy that only has 2 career at-bats as the leadoff man.
And then just doing everything he can to try to shake up this lineup somehow. One of his hottest hitters is Moustakas.
6-game hit streak for Moustakas. He does only have 4 walks on the year in 19 Kansas City games. Very close.
It was a fastball. It was off the corner, but it was close enough. Moustakas took it and got the benefit of the call.
You know, the Royals, when they won the World Series a couple of years ago, they didn't have much from the leadoff spot. There was mostly Escobar, but a couple other guys, just a 250 average, 295 on base, so it wasn't necessarily the top of the card making them go that championship year.
No, they had some bangers, and you can't allow people to come into your ballpark and take away your advantage. The advantage, if you're Kansas City at their park, is the fact that they have good speed, because you have to cover alley to alley in the outfield. You can't allow someone to come in with more speed than you have, and that's how Kansas City usually wins.
Dylan Covey, 25-year-old, a Rule 5 draft pick for the White Sox, meaning he's got to remain on the 25-man roster for the season, or else he gets returned to Oakland. The Athletics have the option to have him.
You get him back at half the price.
That ball's ripped, but stolen. Sanchez snares it into the shift, 1 down.
A good battle, 9 pitches worth, and Moustakas thinks he won the battle. And he might have if not for the shift. Yolmer right there to make the play, ranging to his left, taking a sure base hit away from Moustakas.
So Sanchez with a beauty of a play and a well-timed shift by the White Sox here in the first. And Kane gets plunked. So Lorenzo Cain, who is stolen base machine early this year, is on.
When anybody gets hit, if you have speed at all, the first thing that comes to your mind is stealing a base. And Lorenzo Cain is thinking about stealing second base.
6 out of 6 this year in stolen bases. He has 6 of the 14 for Kansas City.
So Rusty Kuntz, the first base coach, he was in your picture. Longtime baseball man, very popular all around baseball, and they love him in Kansas City.
Taking a look at that stopwatch used for Kobe's timing.
That's a gigantic lead at first base, and Cain was trying to induce Covey to come to first base with his best move. It's called a one-way lead. You take a bigger lead than normal, but you're only thinking about getting back to the bag, and that is a big lead.
The idea being to get to see the A move early.
Seeing the best move he has, and then you can determine how far you can get off after that.
There is the throw, and Cain is back.
That throw fairly deliberate. Cain knows at this point, and he doesn't know if that's the best move. I know they've seen video on the moves to first base from Covey. He doesn't know if that was the best move or not. It got over there slowly. He did know that, and he has not reduced his lead.
Eric Hosmer with a ball and no strikes. And another throw, no tag.
Hosmer's going to be a free agent. Moustakas is going to be a free agent. They've got a number of people that are up either this year and another group of people that will be up after next season. So there's some difficult decisions to be made in that Kansas City front office.
On the ground, Sanchez has to wait for Covey, who gets there nicely. And 2 down as Cain hits second base.
He literally hit second base over the head of Abreu, and then Dillon gets over there in plenty of time to get Hosmer out. Meantime, Cain trying to shake off the effects of that head first slide, which left him in the dirt for a bit.
It's been a rather bruise-filled trip around the bases. He gets hit by a pitch, then he hits the bag. And he's at second, 2 out for Salvador Perez for a Royals team that's hitting 199 as a group. That's last in the majors. 261 on base, also last place.
You really don't know how the absence of one hitter is going to affect the lineup. In the case of Kansas City, that one hitter is Kendrys Morales, because out of the middle of their lineup, the switch hitter can't really help the ball club at all anymore, and they miss him, at least in the early going, desperately.
He started off fairly slowly for Toronto. He does have 3 homers, Morales, 240 batting average in his first 19 games for a Blue Jays side that has really struggled.
Well, this Kansas City team need usually one more run producer, and he was that guy. They're hoping that the rest of the lineup can pick up the slack.
Big swing and a miss, 1-2 on Perez, who is willing to extend the zone.
He swings at just about everything, and to walk him is a major production.
14 strikeouts, 2 walks to start the year for Salvador Perez, who's behind Covey on 1-2. Cain at second, 2 down. Line drive, foul left side. Salvador Perez, 26-year-old catcher, now in his 7th season in Major League Baseball with Kansas City.
if Dillon can cut the ball and keep it away from Perez, he's going to induce that ground ball to the left side. He's been trying to pull just about everything. Let's see what Omar wants. Looks like the high fastball.
Two and two. There it was. Do you then change the eye level and go breaking ball low?
I still think the pitch is a cutter or slider away, because I think he's going to roll over it. Let's see if Dillon can make the pitch and where he wants to make it.
On the ground up the middle, that's a base hit. Garcia's throw coming home, and Kane is safe. The Royals have the first run on the first hit of the game. It comes from Perez with 2 strikes and 2 out, and it's 1-0 Kansas City.
Omar goes out to talk with Dillon about location. He called the right pitch. Unfortunately, this ball did not bite low and away. It kind of came up spinning, and Perez able to take advantage by going right back through the middle. That's run batted in number 9 for him.
So Kansas City, which had 1 run last night, come across in the 3rd, takes its first lead of the series. And Alex Gordon looks at strike number 1.
Another radical shift employed by the defense. 3 infielders on the first base side of second, including Tim Anderson, well up the middle.
Royals have 4 left-handers in the lineup tonight, so we may see a little bit more of this shift, with Moustakas looking at it on that line out as the leadoff batter. Dylan Covey in his Major League rookie season, start number 3 of his MLB career.
Like in batting practice, when I watched Gordon swing yesterday, he was trying to pull a little more than I remember him trying to pull it. One of the reasons why the overshifted infield.
Behind that fastball, 1-2. Gordon has started slowly this year, just 1 for his last 12. Now 33-year-old Kansas City outfielder.
.77 degrees at game time, which means the ball is going to be a lot livelier than it's been for the majority of the home games this year, where it has been chilly, sometimes just out and out cold, and wind, except for one night game, very much a factor in each and every game.
It's howling pretty good today. That ball's fouled away by Gordon. So the pitch count ramping up already for Covey. 22 in this first inning. Trying to figure out what that wipeout pitch is.
Normally for him, it's the curveball. And the unfortunate part about it is, if you don't have it early and your sinkers are staying in the air as opposed to on the ground, you've got some problems.
That could have and should have been strike 3.
Had a piece of the plate. Did not get the benefit of the call from Bruce Dreckman. That has the outside edge of the inside corner.
It's number 6 on your pitch cast, presented by Toyota, on that rectangular left line. 3-2, and he couldn't hold up. Covey gets the strikeout of Gordon, and the Royals strand 1 and get 1. Danny Duffy to the mound against the Sox after this. leads it off, then Melky Cabrera in the 2 spot. Saladino is off today. Frazier DHs. So Matt Davidson is in at third after a gargantuan night last night. Sanchez, Narvaez, Garcia to round it out.
Take a look at the defense and how they'll line up. Behind Danny Duffy, it's Gordon Kane and Bonifacio in the outfield with Moustakas, Escobar, Colon, and Hosmer in the infield. Salvador Perez once again behind the plate. And our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is Danny Duffy, who's off to a great start this year. 2-0 for a team that is not hitting the baseball. You look at the rest of the numbers, equally as impressive. 1.32 ERA.
Danny Duffy, who had a very nice season last year, facing Tim Anderson here, and there's ball number 1 to Tim, who looks like he has finally erupted here in 2017. 5 for his last 9, up to 208 on the batting average.
Duffy, to go with a fastball in the mid-90s, has a very good, probably 3/4 curveball. It's not the nose to toes 12 to 6. It's more like 2 to 8.
Anderson with a blooper to short right, and the second baseman Colon gets over there. We'll explain what 2 to 8 means to people who don't have watches in a moment with all the electronic clocks now. Tim Anderson goes to you, Steve. Frazier to the crew. I think I won last night, so I've got 2. And the fans go with Matt Davidson. They could use a win right now. You fans out there voting online at WhiteSox.com/pick-to-click.
Who did you pick last night? 'Cause I think I had Davidson.
Really?
Well, after the 4 bats, I picked him.
Seems like it's against the rules, but we'll check. Melky takes a strike.
Melky nods his head as if to say that yes, indeed it was.
Sox last night with an 8-run inning, their largest inning since July 3rd, 2012. There's a breaking ball from Duffy. Sox won that game on July 3rd, 2012 by the count of 19-2, beating Roy Oswald's Texas Rangers. And the inning in question was a 9-run 5th inning for the Sox. I'm sure you remember it well.
I just remember 8 of the runs.
Very specifically 8 of the runs. Melky in the air on the right-hand side for the rookie Bonifacio for out number 2. And we remind you that the 2017 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate. Team up with your hometown lender for low mortgage rates and a fast, easy process. Get started now at rate.com. As we recall that 2012 game, Kevin Youkilis drove in 4 runs. Alex Rios knocked in 3. And AJ was 3 for 5 with 3 runs driven in. There you have it. 19-2 against Texas. Oh, and 2 quickly from Duffy to Abreu.
Drops a couple of hooks over, and Jose looking for a fastball, hasn't gotten one. Duffy, property of these Kansas City Royals. They drafted him, developed him, and here he is.
28 years old. Left-hander out of California, not far from Long Beach.
He was a 3rd-round draft pick back in 2007, and the only thing really he's been able to stop him has been injuries. He's had a few of those.
Ball was hammered foul.
Duffy had Tommy John surgery back in 2012. And took a while to recover from that. He's had left biceps tendonitis a couple of different times and a forearm problem. So if he can get over that, this stuff is good enough. He's one of the tougher left-handers around.
That is a nasty breaking ball to the back shoe. And a 1-2-3 inning for Duffy in the first. It's 1-0 Kansas City over the Sox. And we'd like to welcome all your Chicago area viewers tonight, whether you are or aren't watching on LaPorte City Telephone in LaPorte City, Iowa. There are those calendars that everybody's getting this homestand.
You can tell exactly where the Sox are, who they're playing, what giveaways are on a particular day. So they're very handy calendars to have around.
Ball number 1 to the rookie Jorge Bonifacio, who is 2 for 10 so far in his major league career.
He looked a lot better than his 0 for 3 last night would indicate. He took some good swings. This guy is very strong. His father played in the major leagues and getting his opportunity. Now he can play just about anywhere, and the jury is still out on where that opportunity will eventually arise as an everyday player, but for the moment it's right field.
Takes low, 3 balls, no strikes. Brother Emilio and a nice major league career.
And Jorge's got some pop.
Won't get to show it here. It's a 4-pitch walk to lead off the second inning. Sox fans, join us as the White Sox take on the Minnesota Twins Thursday, May 11th, 7:10 p.m. First 10,000 fans get a free specialty T-shirt presented by the Village of Bedford Park. Bring your business home to Bedford Park and win big. Purchase your tickets today at whitesox.com or call 866-SOX-GAME. Very nice Southside Hitmen shirt.
That was a very exciting season. We happened to lead it for a long time until Kansas City finally did what they were supposed to do that year, what everybody expected them to do, which was to get hot and run away from the field, which eventually they did. So Omar out there to talk with Dylan about location after 5 straight bad ones. 3 games postponed, a lot of rain. The Eastern Seaboard, they were postponed at Philadelphia, in New York, and in Boston, where the Yankees were set to play the Red Sox. Atlanta, the Mets, and Miami, the Phillies, all 3 rained out.
That is moving south as well, with the Sox 2 lower level full season affiliates in Kannapolis and Winston-Salem rained out tonight. You would expect that that has nothing to do with the retirement of Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Intimidators, named for his dad, actually.
The bad weather?
Yeah.
No, I think he'd made that decision before, but
Dale Sr. was part owner of the team before that tragic accident, and the team was renamed. They were the, I think, the Piedmont Boll Weevils, and then they became the Intimidators.
I tend to like the second as opposed to the first.
You don't want to be a boll weevil?
Not as much as the Intimidators. I kind of like that.
That's nice.
That's good.
Ned Yost is actually a close friend of Dale Jr. There's a swing and a miss for strike 3, and Escobar goes down hunting against Kobe. Second strikeout for the Sox right-hander.
Well, you mentioned last night when Escobar came to bat that he was hitting just about everything in the air. Last night, 3 times he flied out. And again, last year for him also, and maybe he's pressing a bit, trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark or do things he's not capable of, because he's got to use his speed and spray the ball, and something he hasn't done in the early going.
Well, there's a hitter's revolution in some ways going on in Major League Baseball. Guys like Justin Turner and J.D. Martinez have been in the news talking about how important getting lift on the ball is, and they've been proliferating it to their teammates because home runs pay, according to this current crop of batters that's living under those assumptions about hitting.
And home runs do pay, and that's just been the case for quite some time.
Brandon Moss knows that after a big home run season last year for the Cardinals. Just short of 30 homers last year for Moss, who has yet to find his groove in Kansas City.
Well, if Dylan is going to go with the fastball to him, you best be assured that it's right around letter high. Moss has an uppercut swing, just like most home run hitters have.
That is an interesting look there, Mr. Shields.
Any way to get the broadcast.
Wow. Can you hear me now? Got to do something to keep warm when you're not starting at the moment. Strike 3. Moss goes down. And third strikeout for Kobe.
If he gets that curveball over the plate, he's going to have a pretty good performance. And this one drops over the outside corner. So Moss, for the 4th time in this series, and 4th time to have a bat in his hands, is a strikeout victim.
How about those spray-painted clouds we just saw? A very interesting sky overhead tonight.
A front is moving in. If you don't take an affront to that, it is.
If I only could wager that that was coming, I would be rolling in it. Sanchez catches out number 3. Bonifacio stranded. 1-0 Royals.
4 games. Matt Davidson had a career night last night, 3 hits, 4 RBI. So I asked him how he manages to stay so sharp in between starts. Well, he goes into the batting cages during the game, but he also does something else interesting of note. When the White Sox are on the field, he stands up in the dugout, kind of like simulating like he's in the game. Now, with more starts projected in the near future, he said he's going to have to change how he maintains a little bit. He won't be able to get in as much work in the weight room, and he's also going to have to conserve his energy for the game. Steve, Jason, back up to you.
I'm going to start standing up in game now.
Well, I think it's terrific for you because, like Matt, you can use the weight room. So why don't you go down there and wait? I'll get back to you as this thing moves along.
2 strikes on Frazier. I should have sat down for that pun. Frazier 1 for 5 last night with a rocket double. He drove in 2. And now ball and 2 strikes. Danny Duffy has been electric in this ballpark, as we showed you in the open.
The ERA less than 1.5 in whatever this park happens to be named at any given season. And now guaranteed rate. We'll see if Duffy likes it as well as he has in the past.
To my eyes, his breaking ball looks very good tonight.
Well, that to him. Without that, he's just a pitcher. With that big curveball, he can be a dominating pitcher.
Two. Frazier elevates it out towards center field, and Lorenzo Cain for out number 1. So 4 in a row retired by Duffy to start the game. Mentioned he's a California guy. His uncle was a professional surfer. So Duffy grew up in the surfing community. Big Bob Marley fan. Like you are.
I think Bob Marley is very good. I'm waiting for his next project. Probably not anytime soon, huh?
1 down for Avi Garcia. Navi waylays that foul, 0-1.
Duffy at times during his career has been used out of the bullpen, but it's very difficult for a guy that is going to work out of the pen to throw a big curveball and consistently get it over the plate. That's more the domain of the starting pitchers.
Inside out and through. Base hit for Avi Garcia. And it's a 1-out single. First base runner tonight for the Sox.
As Avi has done so well this year, just spreading the ball around. This is a fastball on the inner third. It's an inside out swing, meaning his hands come first, then the barrel of the bat, and takes that ball the opposite way. So a good piece of hitting and the first hit for the Sox.
Brings up Matt Davidson, who had that 4 RBI night last night, tying the career high, which he set with Arizona. And for Matt Davidson, I mean, last year he has the injured foot while he's on the base path. He made it around the bases to come home to score, but after that he ends up going into the dugout and saying, I think there's something wrong. Tried to go back in the game, couldn't do it, and he ends up with a broken foot after a couple of years worth of very difficult AAA numbers. And it's very nice to see him, after what he's been through, end up in the majors and have some success.
You never really know when that opportunity is going to present itself. And for Matt, it was this spring. He got a bona fide shot at making the ball club and seeing what he can do, and he's off to a great start.
How tough is it, though, for hitters when you're only facing predominantly left-handed pitching? Sierra talked about it some. He's walking around the dugout trying to simulate anything he can, but it's still not an approximation.
No, and it's difficult for guys when they get to the major leagues because to get here, most likely you're going to be playing every day. So if you're playing every day, you're going to get the amount of at-bats you should get, 4 or 5 on a daily basis, and you're able to get a stroke, stay with it, and know pretty much that it's going to be grooved. Well, when you're playing every now and then, as the right-handed counterpart in a platoon system does it, you don't know when you're going to get your at-bats, and it's a lot more difficult to keep the rhythm.
3-1 is inside. That's ball 4. Davidson takes a walk, and 2 are on with 1 out in the 2nd inning. You know, he did get to face the right-hander Moylan out of the bullpen last night, which might have been nice for his confidence against righties.
I think it absolutely was, and I think when you take a look at Peter Moylan and how he throws, which is sidearm almost from the submarine arm slot, he's difficult for right-handers to deal with. And Matt did what he should do. Got a ball on the outer third, took it to right field.
And ice cream for everyone after that 12-1 win last night.
77 degrees at game time, which is a radical departure from the way things have been. So the fans all over taking advantage of as good a night as we've had this year.
Pretty temperate April for the most part. As Sanchez pops this up to first. 2 down for Narvaez.
Normally, if you're not familiar with a pitcher, you like to take a pitch or so to see what he has. But in the case of Omar, a lefty-lefty battle, if he gets a fastball early in a count, that's what he has to jump on, because I don't think he's going to handle the big curveball very well. No sense looking for that. It's a fastball, and for Omar, preferably middle out would probably be something he'd be looking for.
Duffy's been very tough against left-handed hitters, you would imagine, in large part because of that good breaking ball.
You got 95, 96 and throw a curveball like he does, you're going to get a few of the lefties out.
Omar is the Lone Ranger today, batting left-handed. That was outside, called a strike. There is the statistical breakdown for Danny Duffy against lefties.
Yeah, almost nothing with him. Batting average below 200. It's a long time to go with just surrendering 2 home runs.
There's a strike, 1 and 2.
Looks like a balk. I think he quick pitched him. I think he didn't hesitate for a moment. I think normally you can get away with a quick pitch, but Bruce Dreckman was looking for it, and he called the balk. So we'll take another look at it. He never came to the set position for the 1 count. He started down here, then he went up, and as he was coming down, he delivered the ball home. You have to come set for a beat.
That's like telling somebody they got pulled over for slightly rolling through a stop sign, though, isn't it?
Yeah, if you don't mind paying the ticket.
Sox will take it.
Yeah.
1 and 1 on Narvaez. And a breaking ball, 2 and 1. Why does that happen as a pitcher?
Well, you want to change the rhythm of the hitter. That's the purpose of the quick pitch. Do something different than what you've been doing to that point and maybe surprise the hitter. In this case, he wasn't all that surprised because before he could do anything, Bruce Dreckman called the balk.
I mean, there's a lot of movement there for Duffy. As we were watching the replay, there are 1 or 2 places where it seems like he might be wanting to stop in the first place.
You can only set 1 time, and that's another thing. You come to set position in 1 place 1 time during the stretch. Anything more than that, you're going to get called.
There's ball 4, and see, that one didn't look all that much different from the one he got called for the balk with.
Well, Dave Island comes out, and now he wants to have a word with him as he's loaded the bases, a base hit, and a couple of walks. And the Sox threatening with one of the guys who's hit it exceptionally well of late, Leary Garcia.
Here's ball 4. What's different about this one, Stoney?
Looked to me like he came set at the top. He came set for that 1 beat.
So bases loaded, 2 down. Sox end up basically in the same situation anyway, although the balk denied strike 2 to Duffy on Narvaez early in the count, and it's up to Leury Garcia. And he rips it to left field. The Sox are on the board. Here comes the second one. Davidson is out. Danny Duffy does not like that call, and he is having it out with Bruce Dreckman. The Sox have scored a run, and Salvador Perez trying to keep his pitcher in the game.
Good thing for catchers to do. Duffy is still hot. And it cost him a run.
We'll step aside, and so will Danny Duffy. 1-1 your score after 2. Riley is here. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I know it's a big day for you. The grants were announced in terms of the funds you got to distribute.
Yeah, it's always such a special day. We have 43 charitable organizations that we funded through White Sox Charities and White Sox Community Fund grants. So I think that's my favorite part of my job, is being able to call those agencies and say, we're going to be able to provide the support you need to do the amazing work.
What sorts of things are we talking about that get funded because of that?
We have a couple of issue areas that we fund. Cancer research and treatment. That's really the foundation upon which Chicago White Sox Charities was established. But some really great youth education programs that's all about getting kids through high school, into college, and through college. Some great social service programs that support kids and families at risk. Kids who have been abused and neglected, really tough family situations. We do a lot of work there. And then we have a bunch of health and wellness initiatives, which includes, of course, all of our baseball programs, our ACE program, our White Sox RBI program. So a lot of work, a lot of good work being done.
The ACE program had a fantastic year last year, didn't they?
It's amazing. Every year, Jason, every year. It's amazing. I mean, kids who otherwise wouldn't have the chance to even consider college, being able to go to college on a scholarship to play baseball. Academics are a really important part of that program too. So yeah, every year is just gets better and better.
And the RBI team had a magnificent season. There's a large trophy sitting in the office, I know.
They won the World Series championship this year. It's the first time we've made that to the World Series championship, so it's really exciting.
What's it like for you to see all the success stories based on this type of funding and this type of energy from the organization?
You know, people ask me what's the favorite part of my job, and the favorite part of my job is being able to name people that I know whose lives have been touched through White Sox Charities funding. And really, certainly Jerry, it's his mission that we do that, but it's on the shoulders of the fan support that we get and the support from our corporate partners. It's amazing that what we do is because of how generous everybody is to White Sox Charities.
I know the players got involved earlier today as well, right? Miguel Gonzalez, Jacob May.
Yep, and Harold. we went out to Solario High School, and what we did, we went there because they run a program with After School Matters. After School Matters is one of our grant recipient organizations. We granted them $50,000 a year, or $50,000 this year to support their after-school programming. But we went into the school today, and it's a mosaic program, and here you see it. It's just amazing. These kids are in this mosaic class 3 times a week within the school day, and they create mosaics that are on display within the school. So actually, we all kind of did a little bit of work. There's Miguel cutting pieces of glass to put on a cool mosaic that'll be on display. But it was just an opportunity to engage with one of our grant recipient organizations.
Moustakas deep to left, and Melky can't go up and get it. So Moustakas has extra bases here to lead off the third.
We also had the chance, Jason, to meet with the baseball team and the girls softball team at the school, which was kind of neat. So we did the After School Matters component, but then also stopped by so we could make sure that their baseball team could meet some of the guys from our team.
Very neat.
And you know, I talk about the fan support, and I want to mention that we're always trying to create really fun ways for fans to help support White Sox charities, and we did this last year. We're rolling it out again this year, our 25 for 25 campaign. So we are looking for fans to make a minimum donation of $25 or more over the course of 25 hours. And we're going to kick this off on March 10th, so next homestand. May 10th.
Yep.
Going backwards here, May 10th. Kick it off on May 10th. It'll run for 25 hours from noon on May 10th till 1 o'clock on May 11th. Anybody who donates within the hour that they donate has a chance to win really cool raffle prizes, experiences on the field, autographed items. So I brought something for the shelf.
Oh my.
What I brought is a signed photo of a Jim Thome signed photo from when he hit his 500th home run. And I brought it because Jim was number 25, so that's a good reminder for people about 25 for 25. So it's a good reminder to donate $25, or remember it was his 500th home run, so we could take a $500 donation too.
How about that?
So again, just a really cool way for our fans to support the grant giving that we do. So it kind of ties it all together today.
And so far, you guys have donated $27 million, in excess of that, to wonderful causes all across the Chicagoland area. It's been just a great thing that the White Sox have started. And so let's say that you do want to donate. Do you get in touch with you?
Yeah, well, they can reach out to the Community Relations Department, just call the number, or go to whitesox.com and go to the charities section. We'll have information so people can make donations at whitesox.com/Sox25. We'll remind fans as we get a little bit closer, but it's coming up quick in the next homestand.
That's just a foul ball, so Kane runs the count to 2-2. So that's coming up in mid-May.
Yep, right around the corner, actually.
How about that? You, by the way, have been a generous donor to the prize shelf now twice with the Thome signed picture, which will be available tonight, and also our new gnome.
I had to replace the gnome, as I said to Steve, because I listen and because I care.
Yes.
So I wanted to make sure you had one that didn't have like glue all over it.
But you also
he's intact.
You also made another contribution, and that is
I forgot about
the
the
fun
meter button.
Yes. I mean, this is terrific because right now apparently it's almost at the maximum amount of fun you could have.
It's because I'm here with you, Steve.
That's it.
It's because I'm here with you.
And we have a happy gnome and the fun meter.
And the Jim Thome photo to remind people for our 25 for 25 campaign coming up next homestand.
When you're talking about all those success stories, right, is there one that stands out recently in terms of you've been able to give back? I mean, you just made these mosaics today and you get to see the kids' faces. Can you just tell people out there what it's like to be able to spend time donating not only time but also some funds to it?
Gosh, there's so many stories, Jason. Yeah. That's a tough one. I think every time we talk to the Ace kids, in fact, today at Solaria, one of the kids on the baseball team is on one of our Ace teams, and he closed out his game this past weekend where Solaria beat Simeon, which is a big deal. So just being able to see, to engage a kid and talk to him where he's talking about his accomplishments, really building a kid up, that's the stuff. I think the compelling ones are the things we do with children. In fact, today we had a child out who was a special needs child who reached out through one of the agencies that we work with, and we were able to just create an opportunity for them to be at the ballpark with their family, just creating those opportunities of respite. There's so many families going through so much, and And when a child is struggling or suffering, you know, it's really something that affects the whole family. And so,
Wind affects the whole booth,
yes,
by the way.
It does.
But you're right. I mean, why does this mean so much to the White Sox, I guess, is the baseline question. When did this become such a part of the organization? Because it goes through basically everybody, is my experience in the last 2 years.
I really, you know, we always say, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, it starts with Jerry. That's just how he's wired. And I think it's just become part of the White Sox DNA. There's, you know, I think that the whole aspect of baseball being a social institution, you know, our fan base gives us so much, and it's incumbent upon us to give back. And we love our city, and we want to do everything we can to make everyone living here have the best opportunities. And so really it's just, you know, it takes so much less energy to be generous than it does to kind of not be, and I think that's just what Jerry believes. And so it just permeates throughout the organization. It starts in his office, it goes through the clubhouse, clearly the front office staff. I mean, you've seen that in the time you've been with us.
Well, Christine, thank you very much for coming up. WhiteSoxCharities.org, right?
Thank you.
WhiteSoxCharities.org will get you to the information on our grant giving, and watch for information on 25 for 25 and more prizes to come, I promise.
Very nice.
Thank you very much, Christine. Always
Thanks,
great to see you.
Thank you both.
Take care.
That's Christine O'Reilly, Vice President of Community Relations for the White Sox, stopping by with gifts in hand. And check out the website, because there's so much that you can be involved in with the White Sox, and it's so important to the organization and to the community around. And Christine works so hard with her group at everything that the Sox do in the community. It is always a little warmer in the booth when she stops by, isn't it? A little brighter.
They do just such a great job and help so many people. 43 different agencies were benefited by White Sox Charities and the various plans that they have throughout the year to distribute the funds. So it was a good day today with the players and Harold Baines being involved with the high school.
One strike on Eric Hosmer, so Moustakas doubled, Kane walked, and Covey now with the pitch count rising to 56. Trying to find himself a ground ball here.
Can't shift near as much with runners at first and second, so Anderson is behind Moustakas, but not on the first base side of second.
Can't shift near as much because you got to hold him on at second base.
Yeah, you have to do that, and you're shifting because you have a guy who's a pull hitter. And so if a ground ball's hit to the right side, you want Tim to come to the bag and not have to retrace his steps and go back toward the outfield side, make a very difficult pivot. This way it's easier.
One and two from Covey. On the ground, could be two, should be two, will be two.
Playing exactly where he had to, and an easy 6-3 double play. He keeps the ball down, gets the ground ball that he needs, and it's very easy after that.
So the Sox shift has worked well a couple of times tonight. Anderson with that double play, and now Salvador Perez, who provided the lone RBI for Kansas City in the first, up with another RBI chance. It's a high breaking ball, starts him off. Two balls, no strikes on Salvador Perez, who got his first hit in his last 13 at-bats in the first inning. throw coming from Narvaez behind the plate. We will have our farm report coming up later, but Carson Fulmer's night is done with AAA Charlotte, and he threw very well. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. He walked 2, struck out 8.
Since he's come up with the cutter, it's really helped him because now he can get inside and neutralize the left-handers where everything doesn't drift back over the plate.
Well, he said, too, you know, the bumps and bruises that he took last year coming out of the bullpen, and he had a couple of rough outings. He feels like he's learned from those, and when he makes it back up to Chicago, he will be more ready than he was, and we've heard that from a number of the guys who got their first major league time last year. That is ball 4. So the second walk of the inning, the third of the game for Covey, and runners at the corners for the left-hander Alex Gordon with 2 down. Comes Don Cooper, and we remind you that for the 5th year running, the White Sox Charities car raffle is back by popular demand. Enter to win a White Sox-themed Mazda 3. Buy your raffle ticket today for a chance to win, and thank you to our friends at CJ Wilson Mazda for their support of the Sox car raffle. Visit whitesox.com/SoxCar for more details.
Well, Dylan didn't want this inning to have to include Alex Gordon because it's a righty-lefty matchup instead of the righty-righty matchup, but he lost Salvador Perez, and now you got to deal with Gordon. One of the oddities of the numbers of Dylan Covey this year, and again, it's a small sample. This is he's pitched 2.5 games this season. But left-hand hitters have a miss rate of just over 8%. That is way below league average, which is 22% from a right-hand pitcher to a left-hand hitter as far as miss percentages are concerned.
We are missing a bank of lights. You have a couple more illuminating stats that you can offer to try and get those back up and running?
Well, I believe that this visibility is certainly good enough. No, actually, you can't really continue with a bank of lights that's not on, and they're going to make every effort to quickly eliminate the problem.
What an odd series. You want to keep going is the question. Bank of lights is out. You want to keep going?
Sure, why not?
That's 1 vote yes. We'll tally them up later.
Anything that limits the visibility to the hitters, I believe, is a good thing. Although hitters would tell you that they don't necessarily agree with that.
So you were against the development of lights in general?
Yeah, I thought the game should be started around 6 o'clock with no lights. Would have been nice.
Yeah, no flashlights, no miners' helmets. Alex Gordon shrouded in darkness with a base hit to give the Royals a 2-1 lead.
And that's why the walk to Perez was so damaging. Alex Gordon, who is off to a slow start this year, driving in just his 5th run of the year to go with a batting average that's been under 200. He gets one over the middle of the plate, and because of the shift, there's nobody home on the right side, as you can see there.
So the Royals get their second 2-out run of the night. And here is Bonifacio, the young right fielder, to take ball number 1. Well, the Sox bullpen the last couple of days has been quite good. Anthony Swarzak only had to throw 1 inning yesterday. Nate Jones, Tommy Kahnle, David Robertson the day before in the win against Cleveland. So there are some guys out there who have not thrown very much. In case of a need to eat up some innings today, it's a foul ball from Bonifacio. Gordon at first, Perez at second. Double walk, double play, walk, single the inning so far for Kansas City. Davidson at third. Goes to second to get the out, and that is all she wrote for Kansas City. Royals get a run, retake the lead. 2-1 your score is still early on.
CSN. CSN breaks down the Bears' potential selections just in time for the draft. That happens tomorrow at 10:30 on The Loop, presented by GMC.
Draft sneaks up on you a little bit in baseball season. You get into the throes of Major League Baseball, and here comes the NFL draft.
Well, also for those of you that didn't see the ball game last night, we had Nick Hostetler, our scouting director, and he was talking about the draft that he and his counterparts in the front office are preparing for, and that's the baseball draft, which will seemingly coming up in the not too distant future.
Less than 2 months away.
Yep.
Major League Baseball draft. Sox are 11 in the first round, and considering the draft that we saw, the haul that Nick Hostetler put together last year, I think folks are pretty excited about the upcoming draft. Tim Anderson gets hit. You know, Zach Collins was one of the first-round picks last year for the White Sox, and he's the type of guy that likes to have a little fun off the field. He actually grew up loving fighter planes, and here is Zach Collins with his drone in advanced A-ball in lovely Wilmington, Delaware, flying his drone around the first state.
Is that his or Trevor Bauer's?
It was his, yeah.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Always worth it to ask,
But,
really.
yeah, I thought maybe Trevor might have given his away at this point.
Here's Melky Cabrera. And that was not the game move from Duffy.
Well, a good way to start off the inning with arguably your fastest man. If he's not the fastest, Tim Anderson is in the top 2 on this club. He's aboard representing the tying run.
Melky gives it a long ride to center field. Kane is back, and he is there.
400 feet to straightaway center, and that one took just about each and every one of those feet as Kane went back, maybe with a step to spare. Melky hits the daylights out of it. This one stayed up. Melky hits it hard, but unfortunately a couple of feet were needed, and Kane hauls it in.
387 feet officially on that fly ball from Melky.
Meantime, talk about bounce back seasons, and we hope that some of the guys that were hurt last year for the Sox bounce back. Dallas Keuchel moved his record to 4-0, beat the Indians in Cleveland 4-2. Keuchel 4-0 with a 1.22 ERA. What a start for him, and what a start for the Astros. They're 14-6.
Back to where he was a couple of years ago. Last season when we saw the Astros, he was a shell of his former self.
Well, he'd lost a lot of velocity, so the sinker wasn't sinking. And for him, if he doesn't get that to sink, he's very vulnerable to the hitters. Obviously this year, it's sinking once again.
One strike on Abreu. Anderson at first. This is up the middle and through. Base hit. Anderson sees it into center and takes the turn for third. Runners at the corners, one down here in the third.
Anderson took a long look out at Kane. He wanted to see how aggressively he was charging. So he takes a look and waits to see if Kane's going to come in on the dead run. It took Kane a while as Anderson sees him, realizing that he's not on an all-out sprint to get to the baseball. He makes it to third base easily.
So first and third, one down. Todd Frazier coming up. And on the subject of guys trying to bounce back this year, we should tell you the Sox made a roster move before the game. Zach Putnam placed on the 10-day disabled list. Chris Beck is up from AAA Charlotte. So we saw Putnam go out of the game a couple of days ago with apparent elbow discomfort. They're calling it inflammation in the elbow. And so he is on the shelf for now. Beck is up from AAA. Frazier takes high. Here's Zach Putnam. along with Jake Petrichka, who is also on the disabled list for now.
Putnam especially was throwing it as well as he's thrown it at any point of his career, so that's why that is damaging. And the loss of Jake Petrichka last year really hurt the pen. So both of those guys, and the addition of both of them coming back to start the season healthy, certainly made the bullpen a lot stronger. Now both are not healthy, and hopefully in the not too distant future they'll both be active again.
Petrichka out with a lat injury. As there's a swing and a miss. Frazier goes down to 1-2. Anderson at third after he was hit by a pitch. Abreu pushed him to third with a single. Duffy go back to the curveball here. Let's see. He does. And Frazier skies it to right center field. Kane is back at the warning track. Anderson tags and ties the game. 2-2 in the third.
Fourth run batted in for Todd Frazier, who waited long enough to get a pitch he could hit in the air and took it to the deepest recesses of right center field. So the hit batsman comes back to haunt Danny Duffy.
And Avi Garcia has an RBI chance with Abreu at second. And a single to right field already on his ledger for the night.
Renzo Kane was hit in the first inning and eventually scored on a base hit by Perez. So both of the guys hit have scored in the early going in this one.
So Abreu at second, 2 down, and Avi Garcia trying to drive him home. Boy, there's a big gap in left center field right now for Avi. And that's why.
As you can see, 11 outfield hits to right field.
Two and 0. Went after an off-speed pitch, 2-1. Seen a lot of breaking stuff tonight from Duffy. There was a fastball, but coming into this game very early in the season, but he had been throwing the fewest amount of fastballs in his career. He's under 50% for the first time ever. Again, very early, couple of starts deep, but he's been relying more on the off-speed stuff.
He's got two different speeds of curveball, and that's one of the reasons why he's able to get ahead of hitters and wipe them out as often as he has this year.
And now Duffy wants to talk it over with Perez. What does the second speed of curveball do to a hitter? Certainly it changes the way he looks at the ball coming out of the hand.
Well, let's say for Duffy, he's got a changeup, he has a curve, and a fastball. The fastball last year, average velocity 94.5, among the league's best as far as keeping that velocity through each and every pitch of the performance. But if you have a hitter who will guess breaking ball with you, he won't be able to guess the speed if you throw it 2 or 3 different speeds. There's a couple ways to fool a hitter. You can fool him with location, you can fool him with velocity. If you're not fooling him with velocity, you better make pinpoint pitches. And that's the plan behind any pitcher that throws a couple different speeds of curveball.
Matt Davidson, who had a wonderful night last night, is on deck on a 3-2 from Duffy to Avi Garcia. Breaking ball grounded to third. And Moustakas on target. Sox tie the game again, responding to Kansas City's top of the third run, 2-2. Rubik's
with
Cube.
the Rubik's Cube, yes.
Yeah, you could win this in Sox math. We have a 2-2 tie and a lot of stuff for you tonight.
We do if you can get the answer correctly. You do that, the world is your oyster.
Or all this stuff.
Or, yeah, in second place would be anything from here.
Kansas City batting here in the fourth inning. Thanks for joining us wherever you might be. So glad to have you along for the ride. He's Steve, I'm Jason, our entire crew. Good to see our sometimes producer Keon Dolachahi stopping by here today. He's been our producer for all of 0 games so far this season.
Yeah, we will see him the second stop on the road, which will be Kansas City after a short weekend in Detroit.
Yeah, that road trip coming up. Another long road trip for the Sox.
That's the way unfortunately the early going is. But if the team can stay afloat, it's a great second half of the season.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Escobar. You talked about the amount of fly balls he's hit. Coming in to this game, he had a ground ball to fly ball ratio of 1.61 for his career. So about 1.5 ground balls for his fly ball. He's under 1 for this season, ground ball to fly ball. So more fly balls than ground balls for a guy that's been predominantly ground ball.
He also, when he's hitting well, he's using right center field. When he's not hitting well, he's getting under lots of pitches and popping the ball up. In the ballpark that he calls home at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, if you're a fly ball hitter without big power, you are not going to be terribly successful.
Two. He reaches out to tap it foul.
Good change, and he went out and stayed alive. He came over from the Milwaukee Brewers along with Lorenzo Cain in a deal that sent them Zach Greinke. Turned out to be a very good deal for the Royals.
Speaking of Greinke, Diamondbacks have started pretty strong this season. 13-8 opening play today, still trailing the Rockies in the West in the National League.
Diamondbacks been hitting everything in sight.
Boy, are they happy to have A.J. Pollock back. That is popped up. Anderson is out, and there is out, number 1. Here's your Sox math question for tonight. Hashtag Sox math Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize. Number of runs the Sox had last night minus the number of runs the Sox scored in the 6th last night, divided by the number of RBI for Matt Davidson last night, and then multiply the number of outs Miguel Gonzalez has recorded in his last 2 starts. Number of outs in his last 2 starts. And you got to dethrone Ben WH25 today.
Good luck with that.
And by the way, I'm reminded by Chris Kampka in the truck that Sox math doesn't follow order of operations. You do it in order as stated in the question. For you math wizards out there. Strike 1 to Brandon Moss, the well-traveled designated hitter. Boston for a couple years, Pittsburgh for 3 years, Philadelphia for a very brief time in 2011, Oakland for 3 seasons, an all-star year in 14, then Cleveland, St. Louis, Kansas City since 2015. .913 major league games for Brandon Moss, and nearly as many home runs as doubles for his career. 140 homers, 145 doubles.
Well, he doesn't leave anything to the imagination. He will air it out each and every swing with intentions of hitting it out of the park.
Takes a strike, 3-2.
Dylan at the 80 pitch mark. Don Cooper, Ricky Renteria know that this is going to be a game where the pen will be prominent.
Strike 3 for Covey. He wanted that call earlier. He got it on Moss this time, and there's strikeout number 4.
Battles back from 3-1. A moving fastball shaves off the inside part of the plate. And the second time Moss is caught looking. Both of them almost the identical pitch.
So 2 down for Christian Colon, who popped out to Sanchez his first time up. He takes a breaking ball just low. Dylan Covey, who was drafted in the first round originally by Milwaukee, and found out just around draft time that he was type 1 diabetic, decided not to take the offer from Milwaukee, went to college at the University of San Diego, and making his major league debut just a couple of starts ago with the White Sox. Two 2-0 on Cologne. And Dylan Covey, in his decision to go to college, he was a first-round pick. He was picked one slot actually after Chris Sale back in 2010, and he decided that he needed to figure out how to do maintenance on learning that he had diabetes. So he said the first year and a half was extremely tough. He's figured it out since then, lives a very regular life as compared to what he had before, and has learned how to count carbs and things like that, and be ready to go out on the mound. But certainly a shock to the system when he was first drafted. Took that physical and got the news. Ball's hit well. Garcia in center, ranging back, and he's there for out number 3. It's a 1-2-3. 4th inning for Dylan Covey, giving it right back to the offense in a 2-2 tie.
Win a pair of tickets to Game 6 Friday night at United Center. Enter for your chance to win at csnchicago.com/cred. Tickets are still available for this game at bulls.com.
The hope is that'll be an elimination game for Boston.
That would be nice. Little work to do before that, however.
Matt Davidson, Yolmer Sanchez, Omar Narvaez coming up for the Sox as Duffy stays away soft with ball number 1.
And hoping that Duffy does not get a breaking ball over early and then has to come to him with a fastball.
That's called a strike and actually was a little bit further outside than the first one.
Here is a breaking ball. Let's see what Duffy can do with it.
It's a strike.
Good off-speed pitch by Danny Duffy as Dan Jennings starts to loosen up. Assuming that he stays healthy, and you'd like to think that he would, he's going to lead this team in appearances by a wide margin as the only left-hander out there.
He makes more appearances than the M&M jacket behind home plate. We are short one tonight.
No, can't see it.
Don't think he's here.
George Jacobs not here. No.
1-2. Fouled off of Matt.
Duffy's preference is if he's going to throw his fastball, and again, it's a good one. It's in the mid-90s, but almost without exception, he wants to throw that one away from the right-handers. He doesn't try to steal strikes inside with the fastball to them.
That's in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Matt Davidson, who has 4 homers this year. He has 7 career, the other 3 coming 4 years ago when he was up with Arizona. Out of the majors for 2 seasons. Scuffled in AAA with Charlotte. Now back here playing third tonight as he rolls over to shortstop, and Escobar with a long peg for out number 1. White Sox fans, celebrate your Italian roots with Italian Heritage Night presented by Beggar's Pizza when the Sox take on the San Diego Padres Friday, May 12th. Italian Heritage Night features specially priced tickets and a post-game fireworks show. Visit whitesox.com/Italy.
There's a young lady spending some time with the rubber band, trying to figure out how to get that off both of her wrists.
Couple step process.
Yeah, should be able to.
Would you like to do a demonstration?
No.
Good. 1-0 on Sanchez. 1 out here in the 4th. Royals got a run in the 1st. Sox got 1 in the 2nd. Both teams scored in the 3rd. And it's 1-1 on Sanchez.
Duffy throwing every pitch from the stretch, unlike we saw Carlos Carrasco doing. And starting pitchers especially believe that it simplifies the motion. And anytime you can simplify a pitching motion or a golf swing, you can repeat it. And that is the object of the pitching motion, is make it repeatable so that you have the same release point and consequently your control will be a whole lot better. And Duffy's the last couple of years, when healthy, has been just like that.
Sanchez fouls it away. Why is the release point so important?
Because if you can't repeat the release point, you're going to have a hard time controlling the ball. It doesn't matter what pitch you're throwing, but you have to use the same release point. In the case of Duffy, it's high 3/4.
Sanchez bloops it to second, and there is Colon for out number 2. Here's your Sox math answer for tonight. Your answer is 49, and your winner is Notorious TMP. Sox scored 12 minus 8 in the 6th. That's 4 divided by 4 runs driven in for Davidson. 1 times 49, the number of outs for Gonzalez. 8 innings plus 8 and a third is 24 plus 24 plus 1. 49 is your answer, notorious PMP.
And what a start from Miguel Gonzalez this year.
Oh.
Last 2 times out have been brilliant, but he's thrown it well all year long. And he's found himself 3-0 in the early going.
He's just been outstanding, and he has gotten exactly what he's wanted from opposing teams in terms of early outs.
Well, the book out on him is that he's going to throw strike 1. If you do that, it pretty much forces a team to be aggressive against you, not wanting to fall down each and every at bat to 0-1 to start it off.
Narvaez down the right field side toward the corner, and this is a foul ball. Omar worked a walk his first time up, which we have become so used to. Now 6 walks, 4 strikeouts for his season after a great strikeout to walk ratio last year in his major league debut season. The Rule 5 pick from Tampa Bay. Last year, 14 walks, 14 strikeouts, exactly 1-1.
You don't see it too often, especially with younger players, that strong a command of the strike zone.
Stays alive here, still 0-2. There's Leury Garcia, who had an RBI hit in the 2nd inning. Matt Davidson was thrown out coming home on the play. Sox got a run, and the rally ended at the same time. Narvaez fouls it away again. I mean, your first year in the majors, everything's supposed to be sped up. You're supposed to be trying to slow down that heart rate and all of that. And here's Omar taking control of the strike zone in a season where he was expected really to be in the minors for the whole year.
No, I thought he was very impressive in his first go-round. Hopefully more the same this year. Right now, he's in a good battle with Danny Duffy. Spoiling some good pitches. Duffy has been in the zone with each and every one of the pitches to Narvaez.
Still 0-2. And Duffy misses low. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You've got your nightly snack. You'll have to inform the folks what's in there.
I do. I have a little container that we'll show you at some
point.
point.
Looks like an Asian specialty.
That's from the walk-off. Narvaez stays alive. It's called the walk-off. It's in section 157, and you can get yourself a container of noodles and chicken. You see right there? I don't want to spill it on myself, but there it is. It's very good.
And it is good. You said a little spicy.
A little spicy. Little red pepper going on there, but some vegetables. You can get a vegetarian option. I've got the chicken option. Here.
I like the chicken option.
Very nice.
You can have the vegetables.
Narvaez takes a ball. 2-2.
Omar working it once again, as he does so many at bats.
I'd like to say hello to a gentleman in Granger, Indiana, who's watching the game tonight. His name's Ken, and he's texted in to say hello.
He's big in Granger, I know that. And to play your cards right, if you're here on the 13th of May, you just might pick up an alarm clock with his visage on it.
I can't wait.
It's a good-looking clock.
To first, fair ball down the line toward the corner. Narvaez is on. He's racing for second. He gets there easily. It's a 2-out double.
That's just a great at-bat, because he spoiled everything in the zone, keeping the at-bat alive until he finally got a rolling breaking ball and took it down the line. This one just barely fair. Hosmer can't get to it. Jordan Baker on the call. And there's a go-ahead run out at second base.
So here's Leury Garcia. And there is ball number 1. Here is one of those alarm clocks, by the way, the Hawk Harrelson alarm clock, which is coming soon to a pocket near you, for you maybe, when the Padres are in town that next homestand in May. This is a beautiful thing.
Sponsored by Total, which I'm just able to get right now.
It's only been
Finally.
a year.
Yeah.
Waking up to, and this ball game is over, is something that you can do in about 3 weeks or so. Leury Garcia in the air, left of center. Kane has no play. The Sox take the lead. Garcia is having a mammoth series, and the Sox are up 3-2.
Second run driven in, a single and a double now for Leury, who crushed that ball. Kane had no chance in center field, so the wonderful at bat by Omar Narvaez opened the door for another run, and Leury is stinging the baseball. That's 5 hits. He's only been to bat 6 times in a game and a half.
Double number 5 already, and he's not an everyday player at this point.
No, and one thing that you know with this team and the way it's constructed now, there's some opportunities in center field, there's some opportunities at second base, and Leury can do both of those things.
I think this is a time when you credit Ricky Renteria for making sure that nobody sits on the bench for too long.
Well, that's one of the arts of being a manager, is making sure that nobody rusks away while they're waiting to pick up some play. You know, we'll have a chance to discuss this many times, and it's not ideal with 2 outs in an inning, but I think if Ricky Renteria is given the opportunity, and I think he will get it here in a rebuilding situation, he's going to be not a good, he's going to be a great manager, because he's already mastered a couple of things.
It's high in the air to left field from Tim Anderson. Long run to the corner, and nothing there for Gordon to play. 1 strike.
One of the most difficult things for any manager in baseball these days is the ability to interact with the players and get them to understand why you're doing whatever it is you're doing. That communication is something that Ricky does exceptionally well. His players will respect that. He lets them know when they're going to play a day ahead of time. He lets them know why he's made a couple of the moves that he's made. And that kind of communication, that type of interaction with today's player is essential. And Ricky Renteria, in this just his 2nd major league go-round and just his 2nd major league year of managing, has got that part of it down.
Tim checks his swing, and he didn't go. In part, it's got to be because he spent some time doing it before, whether it be over on the other side of town or in the minors as well. He's got managerial chops that he has learned about people over the course of time.
Yeah, it's a 9-year managerial stint so far, including major leagues and minor leagues for Ricky. And what he has learned in that is any situation that comes up, if you're presented with it for the first time, you're not going to respond as well as you might be able to. But if you've seen it before, and the only way to do that is to actually manage, then you have a pretty good idea what worked or didn't work for you last time, and you're not going to repeat something that doesn't work for you.
Ball and 2 strikes on Anderson, who's hit the ball well recently. This is through, base hit. Anderson continues to sting the baseball, and it's 4-2 Sox.
RBI number 4 for Tim Anderson, who scored last inning, and this time he gets what appears to be a slider and takes it through the right side. Hosmer can't get to it. This one down the line. So 2 doubles and a single have yielded a couple of runs and stretched the lead to 2.
It's the first time the Sox have gotten more than 2 runs against Danny Duffy in an outing since September of 2014. And they've done it with the bottom of the order tonight.
Started with just a battling at bat from Omar Narvaez. Kept it alive before he finally doubled, and a double and a single later, 2 runs.
Suddenly, Danny Duffy's thrown 77 pitches, 31 of them coming in this lengthy fourth. Tim back to first. A lot of people have said, when's Tim Anderson going to start heating up? I think we have the answer. He's 6 for his last 11.
Tim's got all kinds of skills. He runs exceptionally well. He's still trying to figure out what major league pitchers are trying to do with him on a day or nightly basis. But all the skills are there. It's now the refinement of those skills which is what's left before he becomes a star.
So here's Danny Duffy throwing to first after 4 earned runs all season. When the night started, he's given up 4 already tonight, and very similarly to Jason Vargas last night, who had allowed 1 all season and gave up 3 earned, 4 total. Melky checked his swing and nicely laid off.
He took a look and watched that ball all the way into Perez's glove. Thought about swinging at the last instant, realizing it was going to drop out of the zone, checked it up.
Melky tips it into Perez's glove, and there's strike 3. So the Sox get a couple of runs and take the lead right back, 4-2 over Kansas City. Insider all season long on CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday shop, The Great Escape.
A new pitcher in the ball game, and it is Dan Jennings. So he's on for the 10th time. 1-0 ERA, 129. You look at some outstanding numbers, and the lone left-hander in anybody's bullpen is going to get a whole lot of work. Dan is doing just that. So he'll start with the top of the order.
A lefty, a righty, and a lefty to face Jennings. As Dylan Covey's night is done, and talking about Dan Hayes, our White Sox insider, his latest story comes from the minors, and it's a story about Zach Collins. He enlightened us a little bit in his appearance yesterday in the 2nd inning, Dan did. But it's about Zach Collins and his ability behind the plate. As of press time, Zach Collins had caught 10 of 14 would-be base stealers, and Zach Collins has made a little bit of a miniature adjustment with catching coordinator John Orton. And the quote is from Dan's story is what we noticed was when he tried to be quick throwing, his ball would seem to kind of die. We looked at some video compared to some other guys that throw well, and he wasn't using his front side. He wasn't on his legs enough to where he could use his lower half. He made the adjustment the next day. He felt it right away. That's Zach Collins.
Not only arm strength, but quickness, because he shaved a little time off and now consistently under 2 seconds to second base.
Pop up right side. Jose Abreu for out number 1. Bid on unique memorabilia from some of your favorite White Sox players, including Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson, Carlton Fisk, Bo Jackson, Carlos Rodon, and more in weekly online auctions. Visit whitesox.com/auctions to start bidding. Have you ever auctioneered anything?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah, I have.
Where?
A charitable event where I was one of the folks that were taking bids.
Isn't it fun?
Well, especially if you're involved with a charity that's near and dear to your heart, then certainly it is a lot of fun. You also know you're doing something that will benefit a whole lot of folks. And so, yeah, it's been a couple of times, and I've enjoyed it. It's been nice.
Do you talk fast like your typical auctioneer? Or do you keep
No.
the same? You don't.
I talk even slower.
That gives them more time to bid. If going once, going twice sold,
Yes.
takes forever.
Well, yeah, you start with going once and go to going whatever, and finally give them every opportunity to bid the item up, whatever it is. So, yeah, it's nice.
Ball and a strike on Lorenzo Cain, who has been hit by a pitch and scored. He's walked. One down for Jennings. It is odd to see Kansas City struggling so much offensively, because you look up and down the order and it's basically the same guys that you're used to, without Morales, but for Ned Yost, it's a lot of the same usual suspects.
Yeah, and this is a team that for 6 straight years has won the season series against the Sox. So regardless of what kind of team Kansas City has had, they've always, in the recent past, always dominated the Sox.
Jennings gets that call. And you look at Kansas City's numbers from last year. They were a .261 hitting team. That was 7th best in Major League Baseball.
They were one of the most difficult teams to throw the ball by. Seemingly all of them made a lot of contact, which is a key to them dominating at their home park.
Jennings fishes out a strikeout. He gets rid of Cain, and 2 down.
Good fastball on the inside part of the plate. Cain swings over the top, realizing it was too close to take. He had what amounted to an excuse me swing and no contact.
So now Hosmer, who still doesn't have a hit in the series, he's 0 for 6. Dan Jennings last year has set his career high in appearances with 64. That was 11 more than 2015, his first season with the Sox, at 53. And you would imagine he's going to test the ceiling.
He's going to be flying by that. And it could very well be he flies by that, maybe in the middle of the second week in August.
He's a Midwestern guy himself. We talked about Gordon being relatively local. He is a University of Nebraska alumnus, Dan Jennings, out of Valley High School in West Des Moines. That's a strike. 2-1 on Hosmer.
That's the confidence that Dan has, because he went to the slider and threw a perfect pitch. And Hosmer on 2-0 expected anything but that.
Two balls, two strikes on Hosmer. Sox took the lead in the bottom of the fourth inning with a 2-out rally. Narvaez a double. As you see the patch for Yordano Ventura.
Yeah. Ace 30. They're going to wear it all season long for one of their really talented starting pitchers that was killed in an automobile crash in the Dominican Republic. And it's irony, not an oddity, but it's irony that he was so distraught over his friend Oscar Taveras, who was killed in a car wreck, and then same fate befell the very talented young right-hander who had been with Kansas City his entire career.
Fiery pitcher, lost in the offseason.
Anthony Swarzak starting to loosen in the pen. We saw him last night, and he did last night what he's been doing all year. A 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout, get everything over the plate, threw a couple of ground balls, and had that fastball at 95 or 96.
Ground ball foul from Hosmer.
Hosmer can keep it alive. Salvi Perez waiting in the on-deck circle.
Three and two. Jennings got him. 1-2-3 inning for Dan out of the bullpen, and the Sox go back to the bat rack after this. No, we're not.
Not yet.
The Hens are in AAA. The Toledo Mud Hens are. But thank you, ma'am. Look forward to the post-game report as Jose Abreu leads off and smacks his ball foul. That's Jamie Farr's Toledo Mud Hens. Klinger's Mud Hens losing to the Charlotte Knights 2-1 tonight. Nicky Delmonico continues to just smoke the baseball. He was 2 for 5 tonight. He drove in a run, hitting .333 now. Yohan Moncada had 1 hit. It was a triple.
He certainly has enough speed to do that quite a bit. This is one of the rare combinations of outstanding speed and pretty big power from both sides of the plate.
You heard about Carson Fulmer and his night. On the pitching side for Charlotte, Juan Minaya, who is rehabbing after an ab strain, through 1 full inning and nobody reached against him. So he's not given up a run in that rehab outing with AAA Charlotte. And we will have our full farm report coming up next half inning. It's just a glimpse for you. And by the way, noted Sox killer Ryan Rayburn now punching his ticket to Sox country in a Sox uniform in AAA for the first time ever. He was 3 for 5 in the 6th spot for Charlotte.
Well, apparently just the sight of a White Sox uniform is enough to inspire Ryan Rayburn, because his numbers against everybody else are pedestrian. Against the Sox, historically, they've just padded his career stats drastically.
Abreu takes low. Ryan Rayburn of about 100 major league games in 2016. Try and keep him on the Sox side as long as possible with the numbers you're talking about, as Abreu shoots one into right field. That is a leadoff base hit.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
So 1 on, nobody out for Todd Frazier. To your point on Rayburn, 91 career homers, Steve. 20 against the Sox.
No, it's
20.
Well, you just look at every aspect of the career numbers are just inflated by what he's done career-wise against the Sox. It didn't matter what uniform he was wearing, and didn't matter who was pitching. He just was damaging.
You would think that somebody else other than, you know, a divisional opponent would have had him for all those years, but it was Detroit, and then it was Cleveland, and then the 1 year with the Rockies for those 113 games last year. Frazier, a rocket up the gap, left center field with speed all the way to the warning track and the wall. Here comes Abreu around third. He's on his way home. He scores 5-2.
Second run driven in tonight by Todd Frazier, giving him 5 for the year. So you add this double to the sacrifice fly in the third, and you've got yet another run on the lead. Todd just reaches down, cranks it into left center field, and this ball is hit so hard it rolls all the way to the wall. And Jose turning it on. Nick Capra saying, keep on going. He beats the play, and he beats it rather easily.
So Todd Frazier, who went a dozen days without an extra base hit, gets a double yesterday and a double today, and the Sox expand the lead. And Avi Garcia with a fly ball to center. Kane charging, Frazier tagging. Todd is on the move, and he is safe at third.
A piece of heads-up base running, knowing that Kane does have an accurate arm. However, that ball was hit so well that there was no chance to cut him down at third base. You're always going to take that gamble with one out. Going to force the infield in, make it a much easier at bat for Matt Davidson.
Matt 0 for 1, ground ball to short in the fourth and a walk in the second. Fly ball should do the trick. Ball one.
Bullpen up and going. It's Scott Alexander. It was a bullpen for a few years that you just didn't want to get into because they kept on throwing up zeros.
Davidson pops it up. Perez leaning for round number 2. Enjoy all the benefits of being a White Sox season ticket holder by purchasing a prorated full or split season ticket package. To purchase, please visit whitesox.com or call 312-674-1000 today.
We've seen the wind here certainly affect things. Must also be blowing consistently in Detroit. 16-6, 33 hits combined between Detroit and Seattle, with the Tigers leading by a 10 spot. Eric Thames hit another home run tonight. His 11th.
Didn't.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So whatever he found in his stint in Korea, you're going to have a lot of people asking him just exactly what it was and where can I get it.
Carlos Lee held the record for most home runs in April for Milwaukee, and now it's Eric Thames, I believe, just passed Carlos.
This on April 25th. He's got some time yet.
They're up 9-0.
Indeed they are.
You don't want to play the Brewers right now.
Now the Brewers, if they win tonight, and it appears that they're going to, they're going to move to 11-11. The Cubs won 1-0. They're now 12-8.
We play the Reds again.
Yep, the Buccos.
Sanchez strikes again. To the wall it goes. Yolmer Sanchez on the accelerator. Into third.
Yolmer, over the course of his brief career, has torched Danny Duffy. And an RBI triple, giving him 4 driven in. A single, double, and triple this inning. That is going to be it for Duffy. He's going to get rocked and not get through the 5th inning. So the call to the pen, Alexander will come in, Duffy will exit. And for 2 nights at least, it's been very offensive here at Guaranteed Rate Field.
Sanchez the triple. The lead continues to grow. Danny Duffy is done. Royals to the pen after this.
Scott Alexander. So a left-hander follows a left-hander. On for the 5th time. ERA 2.35. He's 0-1. There you look at the rest of the numbers. 7 2/3 innings total. Right-handers have done very little with him as opposed to the left-handers, which would tell you that he's got a good changeup.
He'll face Omar Narvaez first. Sanchez at third, 2 down. The runner, property of Danny Duffy. Sox are now at an even 300 against left-handed pitching this year, and you might expect that considering how right-hand heavy this order is.
They had a very good approach tonight against a guy that's tormented them in Danny Duffy. He's been good everywhere, but especially good in Chicago, but not so tonight.
On the ground should do it. Cologne. We're out number 3, but the Sox grab a couple of runs. Frazier an RBI double, Sanchez an RBI triple. 6-2 after 5.
The day before I turned 19, because I remember that was a big deal for me. I always wanted to hit triple digits just because it's triple digits and everyone sees that and the numbers kind of light up people's eyes. So that was a big goal for me, and I hit that right before I turned 19.
What did you do before you were 19? Michael Kopech, that's when he hit triple digits, and he threw tonight against Jacksonville, his best outing so far in Double-A. 6 innings, 1 hit, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts.
I like the fact that the walks are decreasing. The strikeouts will always be high because he's got such great stuff. It's just a question of getting innings under his belt, and when he does, and he learns some finesse, you might have yourself a starting pitcher. The jury is still out on what he is going to do. He can be an overwhelming closer, but the Sox believe, at least to this point, that he is a starting pitcher. They're going to make every effort to see him develop as a starter.
This was by far his longest outing as well so far in Double-A, and it came against the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
Is that the nickname?
It is.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they used to be the Suns, and now they're the Jumbo Shrimp. How'd you like to be in your first couple of years in pro ball and they hand you a jersey and you're a shrimp? Not a small one.
True, but I guess you take solace in the fact that they are paying you to wear it, so that's not a bad thing.
You dress up as just about anything. They pay you, right?
Oh, for the right price, sure.
Be a Statue of Liberty over on the street corner. Time called. Jennings was about to fire.
Well, Dan does take a lot of time, especially when there are no base runners on. I can understand where he would want to take some time out of a jam with no base runners. He does take some time. He believes that the hitter is at a disadvantage when he does that. And the way he's thrown this year, he just might be right.
That's fouled away by Perez. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And on Kopech, here's a kid who, you heard it in that small snippet, he relies and kind of frames himself as, believes a big part of him is the strength of that arm. The radar gun reading is some of the worth to the organization, and he's right about that, but there need to be other components, right?
Right. If you're going to start and you're going to face guys 3 and 4 times an outing, you're going to have some sort of finesse.
In the air to center field, Garcia going back and making the play. That's why they have padding, and Leury took the brunt of it, making out number 1 happen.
Well, Leury started out on the wrong path to catch that ball. Then, because he's got makeup speed, he was able to drift back and make the catch before banging into the wall. So he starts that way, then has to turn around. Now the wind is taking the baseball. It's going to take it back to his left side, and with about a step and a half, he crashes into the wall, which, yes, is padded, but obviously doesn't feel particularly good.
Round of applause from Dan Jennings, who's retired all 4 he's faced since coming in, and now 8 in a row set aside by Covey and Jennings as Leury shakes out the pain. The 1 out for Alex Gordon, who sees left-handed pitching for the first time tonight.
Playing the shift once again with Matt Davidson, the lone Sox defender, on the left side of the infield, and he's even with the bag and well off the line.
Ball and a strike for Alex Gordon, who was 1 for his last 13 before his RBI single in the 3rd. Sox trying to win their 3rd straight and make it 2 in a row against Kansas City to start the season series, with game number 3 of the series tomorrow at 1:10. That'll be Jose Quintana on the mound against Nathan Carnes.
Jose looking for his first win. He's thrown a couple good ball games. Would love to whip up a good one against a team that has been so difficult for the Sox. On the second strike to the at-bat, Dan dropped down sidearm and froze Gordon with a good breaking ball.
Two and two. And fouled away by Gordon. He had one of those last night.
I was going to say he was trying to do exactly what he did last night, which was an excuse me swing, a little dribbler to the left side, turned into a base hit.
Can't try to do the thing that you accidentally did the night before.
No, it's difficult to do under the best of circumstances.
Gets away, no harm done, nobody on. 3 and 2. Gordon, in fact, was the last base runner for Kansas City back in the 3rd.
That time, as Dan Jennings was coming forward, his front spike, the spike on his right shoe, caught the mound and disrupted the timing of that sidearm curveball. He threw it way wide. He's going to try it again here.
in the air and foul.
It was a slider that stayed over the middle of the plate a little too long, and Gordon able to rescue his at bat for the moment.
Sox offense starting this homestand went the first 2 games without scoring a run. It took until inning number 19 of the homestand to score, and it was a 3-run inning at that against Cleveland. As another ground ball goes foul, and since then Sox offense has settled in very nicely. 6 runs, 12 runs, 6 runs in the last 2 games and 5 innings tonight.
Well, it has started. I mean, Davidson continues to hit. He's been doing that most of the year, but Jose Abreu is starting to get good, consistent at bats. Todd Frazier is starting to hit the baseball, and as the guys in the middle start to heat it up, the table setters are going to score, and the guys at the bottom will be given their opportunities, and we've seen that today. Bottom part of the order has been awfully good.
Fouled away again. I mean, here's the funny thing about rebuilding is there's ambition in the Sox clubhouse. There are a lot of guys who are hungry and veteran types who are hungry to make the playoffs in Ricky Renteria's first year against most odds. I mean, the organization's been very forthright and transparent about what the aims are, short term and long term, but there's a lot of ambition in that clubhouse this year. Todd Frazier is one of those veteran guys, you know. He has his career start in Cincinnati when the Reds predominantly are not very good. He comes over here to the Sox, start off so strongly, and he's always going to be a leader type in the clubhouse. Breaking ball hit in the air. Melky coming in, hustling into foul ground. Out number 2.
Some of the things that happen when you take a look at the configuration of a baseball team, as Melky puts that one away, is you realize there's a lot of young talent. I mean, these guys can read also, and they know how good that talent is in the minor leagues. They saw it in the spring, and so with that, you get pushed a bit in situations where maybe in years past you wouldn't be pushed. There's a lot of young guys that are just waiting for their opportunity. The veterans know that. So Dan Jennings will get a hand. He threw very well once again. So we'll step out, be back after these messages. Anthony Swarzak on for the 7th time. His numbers are spectacular. 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 8 in the 3rd. No ERA, 1-0. And he comes into this with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Dan Jennings, who threw the ball very well. 5 hitters, 5 outs. He's the pitcher of record as Covey did not go the requisite 5 innings. So it falls into the hands of Dan Jennings, and now we'll see if his pen mates can make it hold up.
Bonifacio is the first challenge for Swarzak, who threw last night but did not face Bonifacio. He got a strikeout from Cuthbert, a ground ball, and a ground ball after that from the 3 and 4 hitters, Kane and Hosmer. Nice tight breaking ball, down and out, 0-2.
Working to young hitters, knowing that they're aggressive, and we saw last night Bonifacio was that kind of hitter, both young and very aggressive. You don't have to throw anything close to the plate. No reason to set him up here. One more of those and it ends the at-bat.
The evil smile on your face looked like you were recalling doing the very same thing. He just did. There's a check swing and he went.
That's it. See you next inning.
There's that evil smile again. Swarzak does it beautifully. 6-2 your score.
Moment, and it came off the bat of Leury Garcia. Danny Duffy on the hill, and he smokes it to center field. Came with no shot at all. This put the Sox on top. Second hit of the night for Leury, second run driven in, and that's our Miller moment.
He'll go right-handed again, this time against Scott Alexander. And this is fouled away. We told you about Dylan Covey and his dealing with type 1 diabetes. Scott Alexander was diagnosed last season in the midst of his baseball career as a type 1 diabetic and has pitched for parts of the last 3 years with Kansas City. Ball and a strike on Garcia.
Started his college career at Pepperdine, which is gorgeous. Transferred to Sonoma State after his sophomore year. Then picked up $130,000 signing with Kansas City as a 6th round pick.
I don't care what the grades are or what the situation is at Pepperdine. Their transfer rate has got to be about 0.05%. Why would you ever leave Malibu?
Well, Scott Alexander was probably the first one that ever did that. I can't imagine why you would leave there. Having seen the school, it's gorgeous.
To third, Moustakas the dive. Garcia slides. Save.
Three for 3 is Leury. 6 hits in the last 2 games. Moustakas does everything he can do, but with the speed of Garcia, despite the fact that he took the head first dive, he was able to beat the play.
Turned himself into a potted plant, too, having to shake out all the dirt.
6 straight hits. Round out the third, the first at bat last night. And 6 straight. 5 of them singles. And 1, the RBI double in the fourth.
The confidence is just coming out of the pores of the Sox offense right now after a rough start to the homestand. That has done a complete 180. As opposed to that rare partial 180.
Which would be, what, a 90?
Roughly. 1-0 to Tim Anderson, one of the talented young shortstops around Major League Baseball. Trey Turner back from injury for the Nationals. He's already 2 for 2 tonight as the Nats have jumped on the Rockies early out at Coors Field. But the young shortstop crop right now in Major League Baseball is outstanding.
You look around, and whether they're just now bringing them to the major leagues or they've been there for a year or two, it's become a talent-laden position.
Hard hit on the ground. Colon to Escobar, and a double play. Tim Anderson has now hit into 2 very nice-looking middle infield turns for the Royals the last 2 nights. Here's your daily quiz at your own career, Steve. Which player had the fewest extra base hits against you? Which former Kansas City player?
The fewest.
Fewest extra base hits.
Well, John Mayberry killed me, so I don't think he would have the fewest. I thought Amos Otis did a pretty good job. He sold home off me, by the way, in a spring training game, and I hit him as he was sliding in.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he was. Pete Lecoq was at bat. Amos Otis at third base. It was a spring training game, and he stole home. So I realized that whether I got him or not was irrelevant, so I hit him in the back.
It's spring training.
I understand that, but, you know, I know he was trying to get his steal of home down for the season, but, you know, let's say that it got away. So don't tell anybody.
Well, now I know why you don't want people suspended for hitting folk. Because he just plunked a dude on the way home.
Yeah, but that was different. I was trying to throw it 10 feet up the line, and he just happened to slide into it.
Oh, I see now. You're exonerated.
Thank you, Your Honor.
3 balls and no strikes on Melky, who takes a strike.
So I'll choose Darryl Porter.
You will.
Yeah. I mean, 33% chance.
I think you got it, but we'll have to see the answer. Right back to the mound, Alexander to first. The stunning conclusion to Sticks and Stone. See if Steve beans anybody in the 7th inning. It's 6-2.
Classics, the chosen ones, as we take a look back at the top picks of the Bears' storied franchise. That includes, of course, Dick Butkus and Gale Sayers. Bears Classics, tomorrow, presented by Xfinity. Premieres at 11 p.m. on CSN.
You got that DVR?
You know, I'm hoping as soon as they work out the technology to actually get one of those, but I don't have one quite yet.
No way.
True.
You ever had one?
Yeah, in Arizona. The air is lighter there, so I use it. Here, I don't think it works as well.
Gonna play that through for a moment. Yeah, no, it's not real. Here's Escobar to lead off in the 7th. And Swarzak keeps pumping in strikes. Boy, Anthony Swarzak's season has been outstanding to start 2017.
Best, not only has velocity increased, but he's been able to pinpoint everything he has. I mean, he can drop a slow hook over like he just did.
There's a sharp breaking ball.
There's a harder slider, and he had him well out in front.
You were talking about it earlier. That's the reason to have both.
Yeah, sometimes one of the pitches is not going to work, and because there's two distinct ways to throw them, you're not going to have both of them working very well, seemingly each and every time out.
Big swing and a miss for strike 3, and Escobar dispatched quickly by Swarzak. And here's your sticks and stone answer. And thank goodness you got it right. We don't want anyone getting hit on the way home.
Oh, no, I would never do that. So it was indeed Darryl Porter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You win a White Sox Rubik's Cube.
Oh, good. I should be able to get that assembled by 2020.
Well, don't do it here. Do it in Arizona. The air's lighter. It's ball number 1 to Brandon Moss.
2 batters for Anthony, 2 strikeouts.
Ball and a strike. I mean, we talked about it the other night. It's not as though it's come completely out of nowhere for Anthony Swarzak, who did have a very fine season in 13. He had a 2.91 ERA out of the bullpen for Minnesota. But since then, he's not put up numbers similar to that in a full major league season. Right now, he is throwing the ball exceedingly well. Fly ball, Garcia. Out number 2.
Well, that's why general managers all over baseball are always going to take a gamble on guys who have had some success. Whether they're coming back from injury or they were odd man out in a numbers game with the various team that they played with before. If you get a guy with major league experience that showed you he can piece together a good solid season, you might as well take a gamble on him because you don't have all that much to lose. And occasionally you get a pitcher like Swarzak who comes in throwing as good a baseball as he's thrown his entire career.
He is out of Nova High School in Florida, the same high school that provided now 12-year major leaguer Michael Morse and Harry Chappis as well.
Didn't he write Cats in the Cradle?
Unbelievable. 2 strikes from Swarzak. You know, you should get a side job as a morning DJ at WOLD.
In Cincinnati?
Please let this be out number 3. It's what commercial breaks are made
Well,
for.
the way Anthony's going, he's got a real good chance of being that. Maybe not.
Base hit with 2 strikes. First hit of the season for Cologne and the Royals' first base runner since the 3rd.
Muscovy for 4, Jennings for an inning and 2/3, and now Anthony Swarzak for 1+ innings.
So now Moustakas Not only do the Royals have their first base runner since the 3rd inning, that's the first base runner of any kind after an 18-batter retired streak for Anthony Swarzak.
Been just an enchanted year for him to this point. And with a couple of injuries out of that bullpen, you're hoping that it continues as the pen is up and going. Like both bullpens have activity. It is Nate Jones. Kurt Hassler behind him, taking over this year as the bullpen coach. And the Royals pen with king-sized Chris Young, all 6 feet 10 inches of him.
How about his path back to the majors? Dealt with neck trouble that looked like it might take him out of commission about 4 years ago, and he is back and threw very well for this team the last couple of seasons.
He's got, you know, at 6'10", that release point obviously is completely different than most of the guys you face, and because he does throw over the top and throws mostly high fastballs, he gets a lot of pop-ups and fly balls, always had.
There's strike 3. Swarzak takes down Moustakas, and Anthony Swarzak another clean sheet. Stretch time 6-2 Sox.
Bring the fun home.
Todd Frazier doing some autograph work. Oh, that was nice.
Yes, it was. Can't beat fun at the old ballpark as Chris Young comes in the game. Young has been around for a long time in the major leagues, now working out of the bullpen. On for the 6th time, the ERA 4.76. You look at the rest of the numbers, it's a lot of hits in 5 2/3. He's given up 9 of them.
Well, velocity is no longer his thing, but changeups and guile are.
And from his release point and his size, he gets a little extra late movement, which causes a lot of balls to just be skied straight up, either pop-ups or fly balls.
Fly ball right side from Abreu. Bonifacio on the run on a nice play in foul territory. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live. Plus, get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. And if you have MLB TV, you can watch us while you're watching, say, hypothetically, the Tigers and the Mariners tonight. Detroit has put up a week's worth of hits, 24, 19 runs, including a 4-hit day for Ian Kinsler.
Well, that's where we're going to be headed after the off day on Thursday, headed to Detroit for a weekend series. You don't want to see the Tigers quite this hot. We knew their offense would be good. We knew the starting rotation would be pretty good. The bullpen would be problematic, as it usually is, but the hitters are really starting to heat it up for the Tigers.
3 hits for Evergreen Park's finest, Jim Adducci, for the Tigers tonight. Up from AAA Toledo. We've got to lead the league in mudhead talk tonight.
Been a lot of it.
You never played in Toledo, did you? You were never in the International League. You were out west.
I did play in Toledo, but that was as a college player.
Ooh.
Going to play
The Rockets.
the Toledos, yeah.
Three and two from Young to Frazier. Todd has found his stroke for extra base hits the last couple nights. He's 1 for 2 today. 2 driven in. That is ball 4. Young walks Frazier, and Avi Garcia will come up with 1 on and 1 out. Remember, early game tomorrow, 1:10 start time. It's weather day at the ballpark. The legendary Chicago forecaster Tom Skilling will be here talking to the kiddos before the game.
It's always a lot of fun as Tom dissects the weather, lets you know why it is like it is, how difficult it is to predict the weather here because of the lake effect and all the other things that come into play if you're going to be a weatherman in Chicago. He is very entertaining, Mr. Skilling.
You know, there's a budding weatherman in the White Sox dugout too. It is Derek Holland. As Avi Garcia fouls that off. When Derek Holland was playing with the Texas Rangers, he was invited at one point to one of the local news stations, and you can find it on YouTube. He did a segment as the weathercaster on the local news.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it too. Derek has done glib very well for a very long time. He's a great talker, very personable guy, and he's thrown the ball tremendously for the Sox so far.
And a good imitator.
Yes.
Of various folks around not only the world of sports, but just about everywhere.
Including Kermit T. Frog.
Ooh, is that a good one?
He does that very well. Avi with a guillotine up the middle. Frazier breaks it down at second. 2 on, 1 out.
Last couple of years, Avi probably doesn't hit this ball for a base hit. But by waiting back and following it all the way, keeping his head down, and that's really the key. Kept his head down, watched that ball all the way as it was sinking away from him, didn't overswing, and just took it right back up the middle.
For those who have never been in a batter's box, why is keeping the head down so important?
Well, if you pull your head at all, then it's going to mean that the shoulder is eventually going to follow, and then you pull off the ball and you can't hit the ball low and away. Right-hand hitter or a right-hand pitcher. You've got to stay in, and you have to keep your head down on the ball. So watch him. He follows it, looking right down at it, and then doesn't overswing, just goes and gets it. And if you move your head, more times than not, you're going to pull off the ball. If you pull off the ball, there's no coverage middle out. And so he comes up empty with that last swing.
That ball's hit well by Davidson, but at Gordon in left for out number 2. And Sanchez will come up. There's a part of it that's vision as well, right? A steady head allows for better vision.
Well, yeah, you also, I mean, by the time these guys get to the major leagues, if you're going to be a major league hitter, you're going to have very good vision. If you don't, well, then you're not going to be able to succeed. So we take for granted that they can see the ball well. Then it comes down to a case of mechanics, and that mechanics which allow you to stay back, as most hitters will tell you is the key to hitting, staying back, following the baseball all the way, and making sure you've got a pretty good idea of the strike zone. And that's something that usually takes some time. And with Avi, who's been around quite some time, despite the fact he's 25, he seems to have picked it up.
Sanchez on the ground, and Moustakas turns his attention to first. Safe! He pulled Hosmer off the bag. Moustakas makes another mistake in the field, and the bases are loaded.
Moustakas has some time. The ball is hit right to him. It's off the end of the bat, and he takes his time and then just makes a bad throw. Hosmer at 6'4" usually is able to keep the foot on the bag. He was not able to do it. The call by Jordan Baker, and Yolmer in. So E5.
Well, the Sox made Moustakas and the Royals pay in the 3rd inning last night. Anderson reached on the error and came around to score on an Abreu single. So here it's up to Narvaez, getting a right-hander for the first time tonight and taking what's called ball 1. That's high now. 2 balls, no strikes. Nowhere to put Narvaez, who's been on twice tonight.
Omar's at bat that turned into a double in the 4th inning was one of the big keys to a couple of runs.
Popped it up 3rd base side, and Moustakas fights with the tarp.
Well, he probably had visions of last season when, with Gordon in left field, Moustakas at 3rd base, right down by the tarp, they had a nasty collision. Moustakas got the worst of that collision. He tries to backhand this one. The ball trickles away, and he cannot secure it. But he can be excused if that brings back some very unpleasant memories for him in this park.
That's ball number 3.
We talked about the at-bat in the 4th inning. There was 2 out, nobody on, and Omar had a tremendous battle with Duffy, finally winning it and doubling, which set the stage for another double and a single to follow, and 2 runs coming home in the 4th inning. And the Narvaez at-bat was the key.
Three and 1 fastball count. Narvaez in the air, right side. That finds grass. 1 run in. Avi follows. 8-2.
Second and 3rd run batted into the year for Omar, who now has a walk, a double, and a single. Big night for him as he goes down and gets it. 2 more up there on the board. And the air opens the door, and the Sox barge their way through.
You know, it's like the Sox are reliving the entire history of the organization. They've gone in one homestand from the hitless wonders to the Southside Hitmen.
Yeah, a situation where nothing was going particularly well for the ball club. And all of a sudden, everything is starting to come together. The pitching has been very good. The bullpen has been exceptional. And if this offense shows anything like what they've shown the last couple of nights moving forward, it's going to start getting pretty entertaining.
To first base, and Hosmer the pick for out number 3. But the Sox create another 2-out rally. The error helped. Narvaez has 2 across, and Nate Jones is coming in up by 6.
No fee loan now at eclicklending.com. eClick is located in Chicagoland and rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. eClick Lending. Boom! Oh, I love that. Your mortgage just happened. Just in case you want a mortgage to happen, we got the sound effects for you. As Nate Jones comes into this on for the 9th time, 1-0 ERA, a touch over 3. So Covey, Jennings, Swarzak, and now Nate Jones as the offense has come to life. And the bullpen, as it has been doing, has given up nothing.
Swarzak, an inning and a third, 3 strikeouts, 1 hit. 4 hits for Kansas City after 2 in last night's game. And Nate Jones will face the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for Kansas City as the Royals try to avoid prolonging a dubious franchise record that is currently ongoing. 8 straight games with 2 runs or fewer. This would be 9.
It's pretty amazing looking at this Royal team over the last 4 or 5 years to see them go through a stretch with essentially the same guys. I mean, yeah, there's a couple different players, but not all that many. Six of the 9 are on that World Series championship team. So for the most part, the Royals are still intact.
That's strike 3. Slider caught the zone, and Nate Jones buries Kane on 3 pitches.
Lorenzo realized that it was going to be a strike. So he backs away, and then no argument whatsoever. He just walks on back.
Nate Jones, a teammate of Kansas City starter Danny Duffy in the 2017 World Baseball Classic with Team USA, championship side.
Nate talked about that and what a thrill it was to represent your country, wear that uniform, and come away with a medal.
Hard hit and off the glove of Anderson. So Hosmer's on. It's a single with 1 out. Well, Nate Jones was carrying that medal around in spring training, showing it off. enjoying the run at the World Baseball Classic. He talked to us in spring about how wonderful it was just to hear the crowd chanting USA and how much emotion came coursing through him at that moment.
When you think about it, just about each and every one of these guys never really gets an opportunity to represent your country. You can represent a team, you represent your college or your high school or wherever it is where you got your education, but to represent the country and wear USA across your uniform top is a thrill. An even bigger thrill when you come away with the championship. But those are things that David Robertson, Nate Jones will never forget.
It's going to be interesting to see for Nate and David whether or not there's any tangible effect, positive or negative, of more work and a different regimen in spring training that they had this year because of the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, because these guys are creatures of habit. They prepare themselves for each and every season, very similar to how they've done it in the past. And every 4 years there is the World Baseball Classic, which forces you, if you're going to represent your country, to speed up the process. You can't take that leisurely spring training anymore. You've got to be ready to go in what would be the middle of spring training, and sometimes, like Jose Quintana, first time out of the chute, you're pitching 6 innings. That is drastically different than you ever would do it as a professional.
In the air left side from Salvador Perez, and Cabrera waits for it to arrive for out number 2.
Elke decides that he's going to express to Leury, what are you doing over here? This is left field. I got a glove. I can catch that.
He cracked a smile as he turned away.
You just stay where you are in center field, pal. I'll take care of left.
Would you watch a sitcom starring Melky Cabrera and Leury Garcia as sometimes at odds roommates?
Melky's a pretty funny guy. There is no doubt about that.
They're the next Adrian Beltre and Elvis Andrus.
It very well be, but it's a little tougher. You can go from shortstop to third, like the boys do in Texas, and tap him on the head, which he hates. But if you're a center fielder and left fielder, it's a lot of movement.
Melky sold that very well, by the way. He looked like he really did have a problem with his compatriot at center, and cracked the old smile that will be at the end of the credits of that sitcom. Perfect Strangers 2017.
You saw Narvaez there pointing to his left shoulder, telling Nate to stay closed, because if you do fly open, not like a hitter, you fly open, you get no coverage. If you're a pitcher, you fly open, and everything will stay high and away from a right-hand pitcher to a left-hand hitter. Your arm cannot catch up as your body opens up.
Swing and a miss at 98, 2-2.
Alex unhappy with himself because that one wasn't even close, and he was up there hacking.
What a great reaction that was, huh?
Sometimes you do something and you absolutely wonder why in the world you did that. Like swinging a pitch a foot away from the plate.
He laid off that time, and it allows Hosmer to reach second.
Could be a wild pitch. No chance at all for Omar trying to block that. Slider in the dirt. It backs up as it normally does. One hop off the bottom of the chest protector, and first wild pitch of the year for Nate Jones.
Trying to stave off a rally before it starts. 3-2. Breaking ball, strike 3. He froze another. Inning over. The Melky Cabrera Show, filmed in front of a live studio audience. Layla, thank you very much. Look forward to it as the Sox try to put this one away. Tim Anderson gets a lengthy strike call against him.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see a little bit bigger zone at this point.
That one is a strike for anybody. And it's 0-2. You know what happened this day in baseball history, Steve Stone, back in 1978? It was a big day for mascots.
Okay, let's see. San Diego chicken was fried and quartered. No?
Probably would have been a sad day for mascots. Anderson swings and misses for strike 3, and he is thrown out. The Philly Fanatic debuted.
Very entertaining mascot is the Philly Fanatic.
The Fanatic was full of zaniness.
There was a much better one for a few years around Candlestick Park. It was the crab that the fans of the Giants just hated. They used to throw things at him every time the crab would appear.
You think all mascots are related? Southpaw somehow is related genealogically to the Philly Fanatic?
We can try DNA, certainly.
Southpaw stays very still for these games sometimes. (3-0) on Melky after the strikeout of Tim Anderson. It's a good Royals get-up right behind Melky there, by the way. Cowboy hat going on. That is ball 4. 1 on, 1 out. Xfinity Fundamentals deck is accessible from all levels of Guaranteed Rate Field. The space features batting and pitching cages, base running areas, and skill instruction from Chicago White Sox Training Academy coaches. Check out the latest Xfinity technology, including the X1 platform, X1 by Xfinity. It'll change the way you experience TV. So let me double back here. The Giants had a crab mascot?
They did. Well, yeah, for a very short period of time. It wasn't like Lucille.
That one is going a long way away, and it is a wild one, getting Melky to second. And he essentially got shouted down by the fans. And was gone.
Yeah, they didn't like him very much. Looked like a slider. It hit the corner of the plate, bounced up on Salvi Perez, and he couldn't control it. Jose looking for that first home run of the year. He's starting to hit the ball now, and you'd figure the home run would come along rather quickly.
That would be a tough pitch to homer on.
Just barely off the shoe tops. He fouled it off.
Sox and Royals again tomorrow, 1:10 start time. We will be on WGN as Jose Quintana duels with Nathan Carnes in what the Sox hope is a sweep opportunity. Abreu takes ball 2. What do you think has changed for the offense the last 3 days?
Well, I just think it's a situation where you have guys who can hit that are starting to do what they normally do. And Jose Abreu's had 3 really strong seasons, and so you got to figure he is going to start hitting. Todd Frazier hit 40 last year. You figure he's going to start coming around, and when that happens, then some of the other guys that were struggling start to pick it up, and that's what's happened over the last 2 nights.
You know, one thing Ricky Renteria said after the couple of shutouts was he felt like the at-bats were a little bit chaotic, that there was less of an approach than he would like to have, especially with 2 strikes. Ground ball to shortstop. Escobar Out number 2.
With those 2 shutouts, I mean, you faced former Cy Young Award winner, and then you faced Carlos Carrasco. So Kluber and Carrasco had magnificent stuff. I don't care what team you are or when you face those guys. If they're at the top of their game, it's going to be very difficult to produce a whole lot of offense, and the Sox were unable to do it.
Frazier has lit up tonight. A couple of runs scored, a couple driven in, and strike 1.
Melky and Salvi Perez are having a little fun with one another as Melky faking a quick break, and Perez not wanting to throw it down behind him just yet.
Now Perez is showing him that he's ready to throw just in case.
Yeah, I'm not sure Melky's taking off anytime soon in an 8-2 game.
Frazier scored 2 runs. Avi Garcia has scored 2 runs. Abreu 2 hits. Avi 2 hits. Narvaez 2 hits. Leury Garcia 3 hits. Frazier ropes it down the left field side. Fair ball. Pass Gordon to the wall. The Sox pile on. Frazier's second double, and it's 9-2.
Second double, 3rd run driven in. So we talked yesterday about the fact that it seemingly was about time for Todd Frazier to start swinging the bat. He had a couple of decent at-bats in last night's game, and tonight he just reaches out, takes a slider off the ground, dumps it into left field for a 2-base hit.
So Melky finds his way home. Frazier to second. He's doubled his doubles, and now Avi going for a 3-hit game. Way high. Years of the Royals coming in here and making life very difficult on the Sox. And 2 nights of a good deal of offensive pleasure for the Sox. Continues. Avi with a smash to left. Frazier's coming home. Garcia to second base. He is there.
3rd hit of the night for Avi. Drives home his first run of the night, giving him 15. The offense continues to roll right along. Avi takes this one down the line. And what a night for him and his offensive mates.
Avi Garcia now is 13 out of 25 against relief pitchers in 2017. The relief is all his, and it's a 10-2 lead.
He has started out swinging it well, and nothing has diminished through 3 weeks of this season.
Davidson fouls it away. 2 strikes. Matt's the only player not to be involved in a run-scoring play himself. He was on the bases when Avi scored in the second, but Davidson was thrown out at home as the Sox rally came to an end in that second inning when the game was tied at 1.
Only 2 of the guys in this lineup without a hit. Davidson, one of them. Melky, the other one. Melky's walk turned into a run here in the 8th.
How about that?
2004, April of 2004.
One and two. Not 2-2.
So for Chris Young, it's him against the world because Ned Yost is not going to go to that bullpen.
Davidson in the air to left. Gordon makes the catch. Sox grab two more on back-to-back doubles. Frazier and Garcia. It is 10-2, and Chris Beck making his 17th debut.
Boston as they look to take back control of the series against the Celtics. Game 5 coverage begins at 7 with Bulls pregame live or stream the game at csnchicago.com. New pitcher in the ball game, and it is Chris Beck. There you look at the numbers from last year. He inherits a whopping lead with 3 outs to get.
Last he pitched, it was 5 days ago, and it was at BB&T Ballpark in downtown Charlotte. He got a save against the Pawtucket Red Sox in the Yohan Moncada Bowl. 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 run, and 1 strikeout. He's allowed 2 runs in 8 innings in AAA with the Knights so far, and he misses up 2-0. Third straight year with 1 game at least in a White Sox uniform for Beck, who had a spot start in 2015, and then the 25 appearances last year out of the bullpen. There's a strike, 2-1. Well, the Royals led in this game 1-0. The Sox responded with a 2-out RBI single from Leury Garcia in the bottom of the second. Then a run for each team in the third, and Kansas City hasn't scored since then. The Sox have 2 runs in 4 separate innings tonight. Base hit for Bonifacio. It is a leadoff single in the 9th.
Time now for our AARP player profile. Normally we would do older players, but in this case, we'll do younger players. Louis Basabe hitting .312, 8-game hitting streak, and Dane Dunning. Basabe came over from the Red Sox organization, Dunning from the Nationals. 1-0 ERA, .45. Just one walk to go with 26 strikeouts. So the former first-round draft pick of the Nationals doing a good job in the farm system for our Sox.
20 innings, 11 hits, 1 hit batter, 1 walk. His whip is .6. Dane Dunning. That's walks and hits per inning pitched.
And the question mark about Dane Dunning was, could he stay a starting pitcher after being a closer in college? And like so many young pitchers, they're letting him hone his craft as a starter. You see more innings, more hitters under different situations if you're a starting pitcher than you will if you're a closer. You can always get to that. You can always shorten a guy up. You can't lengthen him out. So to give them the first shot at starting, you get all the best of it in the minor leagues. They get a lot more experience and see if they can fulfill all of that potential.
Especially the first couple of years in the minors. In the dirt, 1-2 on Escobar, who is 0 for 6 in the series so far. He just joined us. Carson Fulmer went 6 innings tonight, threw very well with AAA Charlotte. Juan Minaya on rehab had a clean inning as well. Yohan Moncada with a triple. On the ground to third, Davidson to second for 1, and that is all she wrote for the Sox there. It's 5-4 on the fielder's choice. Bonifacio is out. Escobar replaces him.
Yomer never really had a shot with Bonifacio bearing down on him. He tried to get the throw away, was able to do that, but no double play.
Still in order with Moss coming up. Significant power in that bat, but Moss just 1 for his last 17. And the Sox have really turned the page very quickly on back-to-back shutouts to start this homestand. With 2 more outs here, it will guarantee at least an even homestand after a 5-4 road trip. Subaru postgame live is next. Layla and Bill will have that for you. And we'll be right back here at 1:10 tomorrow for Jose Quintana's search for victory. He'll face Nathan Carnes of Kansas City.
Then after the off day on Thursday, it's on to Detroit, then Kansas City for a 4-game series for ending the road trip in Baltimore, facing the red-hot Baltimore Orioles.
Baltimore lost tonight 2-0 to Tampa Bay. Rays are now back to 500. Baltimore is still in first even with the loss, down to 13-6. Orioles got 2 hits only tonight. Chris Davis with 1 and Jonathan Scope with the other. Two and two from Beck.
The Tampa Bay team, kind of interesting. 9-4 at home. They came into play tonight 1-7 on the road. There's a lot of teams in the East struggling on the road. The only team with a winning record away from home are the Orioles.
For Tampa, Steven Souza Jr., 3 more hits.
Well, he's been really hot.
Left center field. Melky's back at the wall, and Kansas City has broken that string of 2-run games or fewer on that long ball from Moss.
Third home run. Moss now has driven in 5. Opposite field shot. And our fourth home run replay. It's a fastball. It's down. We've talked many times about where Brandon Moss likes the ball. It was illustrated graphically right there. He loves it knee high or lower, and he puts a charge into it.
Came in at 95 miles an hour, left at 103, and went 396 feet. And there's strike number 1. There's strike 2, and that's good to see from Chris Beck. He gives up the homer, then pumps in a couple of strikes. Oh, and 2. He got him with a high fastball. 2 down. The Sox, who trailed in this game 1-0 and 2-1, have 1 out to get with a 6-run cushion.
Dan Jennings, who would be the pitcher of record because Dylan Covey did not go 5, would move his record to 2-0 with 1 more out.
Moustakas lays off. Sox bullpen once again, other than the blip here in the 9th inning when the game was well in hand, threw very well. That might be another blip. Let's see. Yes, it is.
That one more than a blip. That was a rocket out of here. But for Moustakas, his 7th home run. He's driven in 11, his 2nd hit of the night, and that was crushed. A forward home run replay. This is a high fastball that goes way out of the park.
So now 10-5. And this is a backhand stab for Davidson. And a White Sox win. 10-5 your final score.
A lot of offense once again for the 2nd night in a row as the Sox, who've been tormented by these Royals over the last 6 seasons, losing the season series 6 straight years, have started off against the Royals, crushing them in 2 straight.
So the Sox and the offense with a 10-5 win. The bullpen certainly was a big help, and Leury Garcia of the Sox win it by 5. Dylan Covey started the game, went 4 innings, and got the Sox through 4 in the game, gave up just 2 runs.
4 innings, gave up a couple of runs on 3 hits with 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Had a rocky first, then settled down somewhat before finally leaving after 4 innings. Well, the boys with the bats tonight were the big story as the team just unloaded. Abreu with a good night. Todd Frazier with a good night. Leury once again, 6 hits in 2 games, and Avi Garcia with a pretty good night. So just about everybody contributed offensively. The bullpen was good as usual. Tough for Chris Beck coming out with the 2 home runs in the last inning, but outside of that, it was a good night all the way around.
Sox are over 500 now for the first time this year at 10-9. And Sierra Santos is downstairs with Larry Garcia. Sierra?
Laudy, you had a streak of 6 straight hits combined with yesterday's game. How high is your confidence at the plate right now?
I feel great, feel confident at the plate, and I'll be working, on my offense, especially they put me in the lineup the last couple of days, and the team been good.
All right, Danny Duffy has been so good here at this park. What was the team's approach coming into the game?
Be aggressive, swing and stride, and pull the bottom plate, and see what happens. That's the thing we do, and we got some runs.
You were not only putting up runs, you were also showcasing some stellar defense. You took that tumble into the wall. How you feeling? Are you a little bit sore?
A little bit, but not too bad. So I stayed in the game and keep playing and try to finish the game.
All right, great game. Thank you so much, Laudy.
All right, thank you.
Guys, we'll send it back up to you in the booth.
Thank you, Sierra, and nice to hear from Mr. Garcia after Melky's shenanigans in game. But Larry Garcia with 6 hits the last 2 games, and he's been going very well.
It's nice to see a couple guys getting an opportunity they might not have gotten otherwise, but for either an injury or just the fact that there's open positions on the field to win a spot. And we've seen guys step up. Leary tonight, last night with him, and it's been fun. This team is playing good, solid baseball more times than not, getting good enough pitching. The bullpen has been spectacular, and we'll look for more of the same in the finale tomorrow.
That'll be 1:10 start time. The Sox and the Kansas City Royals as we say farewell for tonight. For our director, Jim Angio, our producer, John Walgren, associate producer, Chris Kampka, tech manager, Mark Harper, and executive producer, Jim Corno Jr. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti saying so long from Guaranteed Rate Field. The Sox offense lively again tonight. Coming up next, Subaru Postgame Live. Layla and Bill, you've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago. Good night.